Welcome to The Backlash, a weekly exploration of America's awakening. I am your host, Rebecca Hargraves, joined as always by Mr. Dave Riley. How are you doing, Dave?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good.
I'm working on shit over here, so I'm busy.
What?
I'm busy, I'm working.
I'm sorry, all I asked is how you're doing.
I'm great.
How are you doing, Cameron?
Very good, very good. It's a little chilly here on the East Coast, but now is the winter of our discontent.
Yes, it is warm. It's like 55 degrees in
It's
North
nice
Idaho
out
right now.
today.
It's very bizarre.
Loving it. Loving the global
Rub it in my
warming.
face, please, by all means.
Get my aerosol can out back, start spraying it in the air, praying to the gods for global warming.
Yep.
It's very good.
We
it's
all do that.
working.
It's an Idaho
It's working
tradition.
up here. It's getting very... Yeah.
You can find us on
Just
X.
like you guys, less and less every show.
Oh, I know that there's a kernel of truth to that.
No, there is none.
You can find us on X at Real Backlash, our website, thebacklash.net. Support us on subscribestar.com/thebacklash, patreon.com/thebacklash. Send your super chats that will be read live, $10 and up on the Wednesday show, to thebacklash.net/super chat right here on my YouTube channel or on our YouTube channel at Real Backlash. Please sub to us there. 3,000 subscribers. That is depressing.
We're 100 away. We're 100 away from 3,000.
We're 100 away to 3,000.
We're
It's even
almost
worse.
there.
Follow us on Rumble as well. That is Backlash Podcast. Find all of our links, Instagram, TikTok, all the places that you can find us on the backlash.net/subscribe. A big thank you to ODGG Supply. If you want to go blanky mode, gorilla mode, anything that you need to prep, they've got it. Check them out, odggsupply.com. Above Time Coffee Roasters. That is small batch, handcrafted, white positive coffee. If coffee can be white positive, they are.
It depends on how much cream you put in it.
Ah. Atlas Bullion.
That's not them.
Premier dealers of gold, silver, and platinum,
They've got platinum.
and some other stuff. Check them out. Antelope Hill, publishers of white positive literature. And last but not least, North Idaho Tallow. That is idahotallow.com. That is skincare without endocrine disruptors. So thanks to all of our sponsors for making the show happen. Thank you guys for being here, for making the show happen. Let's talk about the weekend event.
Yes. Oh, yes. Let's. Hold on. I'm still getting all of my
We are having
news section.
an event on February 27th for any of you that may want to come up, hang out with us for the entire weekend. This is our February dinner. We have a black tie dinner that you will be attending with us. We're going to do some curated weekend experiences, small group access to hosts. You're going to have access to us.
Oh, yeah. Access.
You know, as fetching as you look in that outfit, Rebecca, I got to say, Dave wins in the picture department. Look at that picture.
That's
Dave.
a real picture,
Look
by
at
the
that
way.
picture.
That's a real gun.
That
Okay.
sends that's a strong Tinder profile. right
Welcome
there.
to North Idaho. Thank God I haven't.
That jacket is a real leopard.
That's a real what?
It is. I got it at a flea market, vintage.
That's animal abuse.
But it was made in the 60s. I didn't kill the leopard. If I didn't get it, then no new leopards were killed in the making of my jacket, okay? Blame Jackie O for this. Mink and leopard, the real deal.
But
Cool story, Hansel.
Oh, come on.
it is going to be a wonderful evening. You should definitely consider joining us. We only have 4 seats left. They've been selling like hotcakes. So you need to get in touch. You can either send us an email at info@thebacklash.net. You can just go to the website and click the register now button. It'll take you to the place where you can, pay for it and check out the whole 9 yards. But yeah, you've got to get in touch.
Get in touch with us. We'd love to see you. Please come out for our event. Did anything happen this week? Anything in the news?
Should we put that in the chats?
in the live chat? Sure.
We'll put that in the chats.
Man, these Epstein files. We did a Twitter space the other day where we were talking about the Epstein files loosely, tangentially. They had just been dropped. And so I went on this epic quest to use AI to find out what was in these documents. It is so much stuff that AI couldn't even do it. You would have to input all of the PDFs individually, of which there are thousands.
PDF files?
The PDF files, yeah. And so eventually I just gave up after doing it for several hours. And I was like, I'm just going to have to wait until the power of the internet comes through for me. And people go through these at a snail's pace, it seems, although 3 million, it's 3 million pages or 3 million documents.
I don't even know how many it is, but
Yeah.
it's incredible.
Allegedly, this is all of the files. We're going to talk a little bit about why that cannot possibly be. But what I've learned from obsessively researching these files this week, listening to all the content on them, is that what is actually in these files is less important than the overarching narrative. And I have some questions about this. Like, if there is this genuine blackmail network, which I think that there probably is, where's the blackmail? Did you see anything that was credible, not an anonymous tip to the FBI, that was life destroying for any individual?
Well, I mean, there's been a lot of these photographs are being redacted by the FBI.
Yeah.
So if there are any photographs that are in those files that, we're not seeing them.
I think there are obvious omissions, though.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so,
plus,
as always,
the FBI is not going to release CSAM
Yeah.
and be like, all right, everybody, knock yourselves out, download like 25 gigabytes of CSAM.
Right.
That's not going to happen.
but it was vindicating because we've been saying for so long that this is an elaborate pedophile network, that there is trafficking going on, that people in the highest government capacity are deeply involved. And I think in that way, we were vindicated, and we were massively vindicated on a Jewish cabal, on an international Jewish cabal, the existence of one. So in many ways, I feel seen. I feel vindicated about the things. We were talking about Pizzagate. Oh, Lord. I have. We were talking about Pizzagate years ago, and people thought that we were insane. People thought that we were insane. And now I think some people are coming around. You mentioned on the show with Radix Virum that Goyim, the search term, has had a massive spike since the release date of the Epstein files. And I saw somebody tweet, I can't remember who it was, but it said, for all of you that don't know what Goyim is, welcome.
Welcome to the party.
Welcome to the party.
I tweeted it out the day that it was happening.
So I have to believe that this is going to wake some people up. I need it for my sanity.
I wish that this was on Polymarket. I could have made money, man. Imagine
just over
buying
time.
the dip on Goyim.
Yeah,
And then
for
riding the Epstein wave all the way up.
I know.
Holy shit.
But I do believe we're being fed a narrative. They put this out on a Friday, as they do, and it was just such an incredible amount of information.
They're also deleting all of the files that mention the Rothschilds.
Yes. They're deleting a lot of the files.
Vindicated on that one.
It's highly suspicious. I mean, we should always assume that the government and the powers that be are giving us the information that they want us to see. And so I just wonder, why did they release these files? Why?
Well, because Congress ordered them to do it.
But who cares?
This was a strategic defeat of the Trump administration. But
we already know that some things have to be omitted. So they didn't have to do this massive dump of information. It could have been more carefully curated. There could have been more omissions. I just wonder why. And then it was like they didn't want people to see it because they released it on a Friday. So I don't know. I have some questions surrounding that. But let's see who's involved. Elon Musk has been screaming from the mountaintops that he had no involvement, that he never went to the island, but he never mentioned that he did try. He certainly did try. Can you bring up one?
Yes.
All right. Might have to put my glasses on for this segment.
My glasses.
Shame on Sky News for utterly misleading headline. Anyone pushes this false narrative deserves complete contempt. This is Elon Musk. Epstein tried to get me to go to his island and I refuse. Yet they named me even before Prince Andrew, who did go. All right, let's see the next one. And
So this is going to be small for you.
that's okay. I got it. On December 13th, 2013, this is Elon Musk, presumably, will be in the BVI St. Bart's area over the holidays. Is there a good time to visit? Any day, play it by ear if you want. There's always space for you. He says, okay, probably the first, the second or third would be perfect. I'll come and get you. I need to fly back to LA on the night of the second. So actually, I could fly back early on the third. We will be in St. Bart's. Should we head to the island on the second? So he was planning to go. He just didn't actually go. Mm-hmm. That has to matter, right? Bill Gates also intimately involved. Here, I'm going to put my glasses on for a second.
Yeah, we're going to need these.
I'm going to need my glasses.
These things are pretty.
Did you see Melinda Gates came out and discussed this?
Yes, I think she
with
did a
NPR.
podcast. Yeah, I saw that. There was an email that I saw where it was like, it was Elon Musk replying to Epstein, and it was $OUR, like $OUR island. So it kind of looks like our island. I saw people running with that narrative. But so like all of these documents, if you're not aware of this already, they're all OCR'd. So there are a lot of typos and spelling errors. And so you'll see the equal sign thrown in all the time to like replace E's and all this kind of stuff.
Also,
just FYI.
Epstein, that Jew cannot spell shit.
Dude,
We're going to watch a video later where he's just, everything he tries to spell, he misspells.
all of our overlords are just like completely unable to type coherent sentences, and yet they run society. They can't even use voice to text, for God's sake.
I know. Reading the latest Epstein emails is just fascinating. Read this stuff. There are ones that are particularly interesting because they're the notes to himself. Okay, this is something that he wrote to himself about Bill Gates, saying basically, this is just too big of an email to read, but he's talking about resigning from the Gates Foundation and everything like that. And then he's talking about how he delivered some Russian prostitutes to Bill Gates, and Bill Gates contracted an STD, and he was trying to surreptitiously treat Melinda with antibiotics that would cure said STD. I assume it was chlamydia or gonorrhea or something like that.
Without her knowledge. Sounds a lot
without
like
her knowledge.
Sounds a lot like the Rotary polio shit that's going on over in Africa. You know, like they're giving people all these vaccines and they drop dead all the time.
Yeah.
And
Seriously.
they're putting weird shit in the vaccines and testing it on people surreptitiously. Doesn't surprise me that Bill Gates would like get his wife fucked up.
I don't know. He seems
STD.
so asexual that this, although I don't doubt his corruption, this one was kind of astonishing to me.
Who's the guy in the wheelchair that talks?
Stephen Hawking.
I mean, if they were able to get Stephen Hawking to let us freak out down there on the island, I'm sure Bill Gates got plenty freaky.
In Melinda, if you guys haven't watched it, check out the Melinda Gates interview. But it's with another chick, I think from NPR, and the other chick is like, "You don't have to say whether or not any of these allegations are true, but how does this make you feel?" I'm like, this is such a woman interview. No one cares how she feels about this. Just tell us whether or not these things are true. But she did say that their divorce stemmed from the, we can watch this.
This was it, right?
Yep.
And neither of these women are transgender?
No, indeed.
These are both women.
Real women.
Real women. Okay, just checking.
That Bill Gates had additional affairs and that he tried to get medication to treat a sexually transmitted infection, and that he was going to give you the medicine without you knowing. His representative has said all of this is false. It is not on you to have to respond to the details of that alleged behavior, but I wonder what your dominant emotion is when you read these news
Who cares?
articles with these details.
Sad. Just unbelievable sadness.
Sad.
She looks sad.
Unbelievable sadness, right? And again, I'm able to take my own sadness and look at those young girls and say, my God, how did that happen to those girls, right? And so for me, it's just sadness for, I left my marriage. I had to leave my marriage. I wanted to leave my marriage. I had to leave I felt I needed to eventually leave the foundation. So it's just sad. That's the truth.
Thank you for that non-answer. The woman part of my brain wants to feel sorry for her, but she needs to be treated like she's a mob wife.
She's a multi-billionaire. You don't need to feel sad for Melinda Gates.
I said
I'm
the
sorry.
woman part of my brain, okay?
Oh, yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
I don't actually feel bad for her. I mean, she does need to be treated like a mob wife. Like, you're getting this money from somewhere. You're not asking questions at a minimum, if you didn't know anything, which, you probably did.
Back when the Catholic Church ruled society, women like that would
I
get
swear to
thrown
God,
into a
Dave.
monastery, and she could live the rest of her life as a nun and donate her money to the church.
I kind of like that.
I like that idea.
Catholics are having a rough week. We won't talk about it, though. It's been a rough week for the Catholics.
The trads are not having a good week this week.
Let's see. How is Howard Lutnik involved? This guy, this friggin' snake. 3. In 2005, Howard Lutnik famously said on an interview with, was it 60 Minutes? He's like, Epstein said that he was getting a massage and he said it suggestively. And I decided with my wife that we would never be in a room with him again. And then here he is. This is one of a series of discussions that he had with Jeffrey Epstein over the course of like 10 years. He says,
Hi, Jeff. We're landing in St. Thomas early Saturday afternoon and planning to head over to St. Bart's Anguilla? How do you say that? Anguilla? On Monday at some point. Where are you located? What is exact location for my captain? Does Sunday evening dinner sound good? I have another couple, Michael and Marcy Lerman, with me on the boat, and each of us has 4 children. 2 16s, 2 14s, a 13, a 12, an 11, and a 7-year-old. Thanks, Howie. That's on
isn't it bizarre
2012.
to name the ages of the children?
I mean, maybe. Like when I go to a buddy's house, it's like, yeah, I've got a 5, a 3, and a 1-year-old.
Is your buddy a pedophile?
No.
Oh, okay. I think that changes things a little bit.
He was accused at
Correct
that
answer.
point, right? He had been arrested the first time.
In 2012, I think his
2012.
first, it was in 2008 because it was during the market crash. Yeah.
Right.
So by then, everybody knew that he was peddling underage goyim girls, and he's still like, oh, here are the kids that I'm going to have, ages teenage. And then
And
11.
of course, this says nothing about Epstein's, next door neighbor
Yeah,
they owned.
They shared a townhouse. Well, 2 townhouses that had a shared wall. Yeah.
They had a shared wall. They would see each other coming and going, I'm sure. And of course, this is our Treasury Secretary, or not Treasury Secretary, Commerce Secretary.
Did you know Bolton's involved?
John?
Yeah, let's pull up this Aaron Matei on Judge Knapp today. We're going to play to 5:43, Dave.
All right.
Thank you, Dave.
You're welcome.
I think it's both. Certainly, this is an Israel First administration. In the Epstein files, there's just something that came out where Steve Bannon is talking to Epstein about the appointment of John Bolton as National Security Advisor in Trump's first term. And it's either Steve Bannon or Epstein says about John Bolton, Bolton will not cross Sheldon. And who's Sheldon? That's Sheldon Adelson, one of Trump's biggest donors. Trump's bragged about how the Adelsons have given his campaign hundreds of millions of dollars. So the fact that Bannon, who was working for Trump in his first term, is talking about how it's important for Trump's National Security Advisor, Bolton, to not cross an Israeli-American oligarch, Sheldon Adelson, that speaks to the huge influence that the Israeli government and its sponsors have inside the Trump administration. So you have a convergence of Israel first, plus just longstanding animus toward Iran, going back even before Israel was a factor. And that's what's converging into this new crisis of today, where the U.S. is...
We're good. It's just unreal. Nobody hates these people enough. Anybody else connected to Trump that was in these? Let's see. Let's pull up 5. Trump's nominee for Federal Reserve Chairman, Kevin Warsh. Every time I say that, it just brings me back to my Missouri roots,
Washington.
Mentioned at an Epstein party as an attendee for an Epstein party. I believe this was in 2010. Yep, St. Bart's listed as the location for the event.
Do you remember, we mentioned this on our New Year's Eve episode?
Did we?
That everybody goes to St. Bart's.
Oh, yeah.
That it's like one very small tactical nuclear bomb could wipe the earth off the face of these pedophiles. I fucked that up.
You did okay. It's okay. So how deep does this go? If you have any doubt, let's take this outside of Trump. Here is Epstein on tape advising former Israeli PM to approach Palantir founder Peter Thiel. I apologize for this. This is kind of long and it's really vexing.
It's worth listening to.
But it's worth listening to.
he thought there was two cyber companies. Look out, and even though I know Peter, I've never met Peter Thiel, and everybody says he sort of jumps around and acts sort of strange, like he's on drugs.
Smoking, yeah.
Yeah.
He looks there under drugs.
However, he has a company called Palantir, Pallen. Tier. Palantir is Peter Thiel's company.
Learn to
And look
spell.
out.
Palantir, Palantier.
Good
Yes.
Lord.
How you write Thiel? Thiellly.
Thiel.
Lly.
No, Thiell. So he thought that Peter would put you on the board of Palantir. Peter Thiel is one of the best. I've never met him. He's going to come here next week. So I wanted to talk to him after I talked to you.
Okay.
He and Andreessen, it's called Andreessen Horowitz. Andreessen Horowitz, they pay Larry $1 million a year just to advise them.
Andreas and
Andreessen, Andreessen,
That's not how you spell
and Horowitz.
Did he get any of these right now?
Horo, Horowitz.
what they are? It's a lobbyist. What they are doing?
They are the biggest venture capital people in Silicon Valley.
What, bigger than Sequoia or Kleiner
These are the new Kleiner Perkins. Everybody, these are the smart boys.
The
So
smart
those two
boys.
companies right away, in terms of, I said that we need now, in the next 3 weeks, if you're going to leave.
Good Lord. This, as a random aside, this is the first time I've really heard Epstein speak, and I had terrible voice-face mismatch.
Oh, really?
Like when I heard him talk, I was like, he's more of a Weasley Jew.
Yeah. Well, he's got that like very classic. There's something they always, if there's like a T at the end of the word, they don't like roll over consonants at the end of the words.
Good
I don't know
Lord.
how to put it.
How to put it, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But
And
he's
so
he's
what
got
can we
that
take?
affectation.
You know, this was a thread throughout the Epstein files. He was obsessed with surveillance technology.
Of course he was.
Yes, and that's a lesson to all of us about what Jews are really up to these days. So how does he see himself? I thought this was so interesting. This particular email. This is a self email. I thought these were the most interesting. In 2018, Jeffrey Epstein recounts laughing about Jews controlling the world in an email to himself. At my
Hold on, here we go.
At my dinner table, I asked, why are you right-wing guys so anti-Semitic? One said, historically, we all know, can you
can't
make this
read
a
it.
little smaller? We all know it's actually been the Jews behind governments pulling the strings. I said, like who? And one pointed at me.
There we go. Yeah, I'll read it.
And one pointed at me. You're going to have to.
I'll just read it. Hold on, I'll read it. I'll read it from the top.
Oh, and they all started to roar with laughter. Me and one guy said, how do you explain in only 3 days there have been princes, prime ministers, other ministers, emissaries, plus 2 presidents
Of world
bodies? And he said, guilty. So funny, wish you were here. So, I would say that this is typical Jewish hubris, but he actually was effectively running the world. So is it hubristic? Because he did have this power. You know who thinks that this doesn't mean anything about Jews running the world? I'll give you 2 guesses.
Ben Shapiro.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Ben Shapiro.
Is anybody more hated than Epstein this week than
Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro. Yeah, of course. By the way, did you see the Matt Walsh video?
No.
Oh, Matt Walsh did a whole piece on it and is like, oh, he should be on the Backlash sometime
Yeah,
because he's
really.
like talking about. And by the way, Goyim is a slur for non-Jews, and it's all over the emails. And
He's gonna get fired.
Oh, he's totally going to get fired. Well, I mean, we'll find out if he gets fired or not. But what does Benny Boy have to say? Let's take a listen.
A lot of people are looking for the connection between the Jeffrey Epstein story, the saga, the details that are now coming out, and what that means about, quote unquote, who runs our world. Now, there are a lot of very powerful people whose names have been mentioned in the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. People who are hanging out, hobnobbing with Jeffrey Epstein. People who are asking dating advice, like Lauren Summers, former president of Harvard. Or people who are apparently soliciting visits to Epstein parties, or whom Epstein was soliciting to go to his parties, including people like Elon Musk. Obviously, Jeffrey Epstein was friendly with Bill Clinton. There's a time early on in his life, earlier, when he was friendly with Donald Trump. All of that is true. Now, the leap that some people are making is that this means that Epstein was manipulating all of these powerful people through blackmail with regard to sex. That is not in evidence. If that turns out to be in evidence, then we will happily report on it. That is not what so far has come out. And the reason I'm making this distinction is because it is, in fact, a deeply important thing that some of the most powerful people in our society act in morally depraved ways, godless, virtue-free ways, hanging out with some of the worst people in our society, people they know to be trafficking in women who are very, very young, if not in minors. When it comes to Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, what was criminally indicted was the trafficking of underage girls for Epstein's own use. There have yet to be legally verifiable allegations that girls who are underage were trafficked to people who are not Jeffrey Epstein or by Ghislaine Maxwell to people not Jeffrey Epstein.
What then? Who would be using the girls? It was like hundreds and hundreds of girls. It can't possibly just be for Jeffrey Epstein. Also, how would he amass this much power? It's so retarded. He doesn't think this. He cannot possibly think this.
Is his hat getting bigger?
It is.
I think because I don't remember seeing the full hat when he used to do videos.
It's getting bigger and bigger.
It's
As his
getting
head
bigger.
gets bigger, he gets a yarmulke that's commensurate with his giant head size.
Jeez.
So what is the media making of this? Generally, I think it's been well covered. However, Daily Mail took all of these things and decided it's Russia. Jeffrey Epstein. I work for the Rothschilds, Israel, and World Jewry, New York Post. Epstein probably worked for the Russians.
Unbelievable.
Oh, I thought it was Daily Mail. Did they cover it too?
Daily Mail covered it too.
Okay.
And they're
this
coming
is
out
the New
with
York
it too.
Post, but yeah, this is their conclusion after reading all that. So anyway, before we move on, my biggest question right now. Okay, so like, what are the most major revelations? Do you think that this is going to affect normie class? Is this going to enter normie tier thinking? And why did they release these files? Let's go with Cameron first.
Man, putting me on the spot tonight, huh?
Got to keep you on your toes.
Let's take the first part of your question because I'm not really sure why. I can hazard a guess, but I'm not really sure. First, I should say that both you, Rebecca Hargraves, and Dave Riley should be taking a victory lap because in no small part, these revelations are the validation of your hard work for the last decade. As you rightly pointed out at the beginning, you and a cadre of folks a decade ago plus were talking about these things in very candid terms and were summarily dismissed and dismissed with prejudice, if you recall. And it's been a hellacious journey ever since for both of you. You've been slandered, your reputations in many cases have been destroyed. It's been hard to earn a living. And ladies and gentlemen, I say that so that you understand the legitimacy, the authenticity of the folks that you're listening to, not me, but Rebecca and Dave and some of the other folks that are in their circle. Because I do not believe that any of these documents would have been ventilated without you, period. So I pay homage to the hard work, the whips and scorns that you had to deal with, the slings and arrows over the last decade to get this to market. So that's the first thing. Your question, what does all of this mean? Well, if you go back over the summertime, Rebecca asked me a question. She said, is the Epstein thing going to disappear? Is it contained? And both Dave Riley and I said at the time, this is not contained. This is a forest fire that's beginning to burn. And at the time, if you recall, there was a kind of botched or bungled messaging that was coming out of the White House. Pam Bondi, who's the Attorney General, said that she had the Epstein files and that she was ready to act upon them. And if you back up farther in time, before the election, you had people like Kash Patel, who is the director of the FBI. You have Dan Bongino, who became his deputy. You have Donald Trump himself, who were all declarative that they would enact justice. And to some degree, that was the premise of Donald Trump's second term. That was what MAGA was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a counterstrike against a power structure called the swamp, if you will, to enact justice, a justice, I might add, that was long overdue, particularly from people like yourselves. Well, the question at the time was, okay, did they just sort of botch this messaging? Or was there something else going on? Were they completely untoward and immersed in the corruption that they said they would act upon, that they decried? Well, according to the New York Times, Donald Trump, I think in the 5,300 files or so, there were 38,000 references to Donald Trump, his wife, his Mar-a-Lago club in Florida, and other related words and phrases in the latest batch of emails, government files, videos, and other records released by the Justice Department. What does that tell you? It tells you that Donald Trump, that the MAGA movement and the cohort of people that staff his government, they do not represent us, that the Make America Great Again movement is a fraud, and that everything and anything that touches the political class in this country is overtly corrupt, period, that they are all contaminated. And I think that this Epstein case, if you will, whether he's the epicenter of it or not, or there's something more beneath him, which is my view, either way, he is a virus that has infected the entire power structure. Now, the question is, what does that mean? Well, I think what it means is that we are now in a very different kind of politics in which both people on the left and people on the right are coming to the conclusion that the entire political structure in this country and every tentacle that's attached to that power structure, and let's be clear on what some of these are. You're talking about all the mainstream media in the United States. You're talking about some of the storied academic institutions in this country, Harvard, Stanford, Yale, right? Some of these institutions that go back to before the Republic was founded, and the principal allocators of capital in the United States, that being Wall Street. And we all knew that Wall Street was corrupt, perhaps not this corrupt, but also Silicon Valley. And if you pay keen attention to what Epstein said in that interview that Rebecca just played a moment ago, what is he talking about? He's talking about the power brokers in Silicon Valley, VC, venture capital. Venture capital at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, is driving the artificial intelligence complex, which is singularly responsible for what's left of our GDP in this country, something we've talked about over the last few weeks. And is it all that surprising that in recent months, you've had people like Michael Burry, who's famous from The Big Short, who have begun to explore, investigate, and uncover mass fraud in Silicon Valley from some of the prevailing names, the blue chips in the artificial intelligence complex. What I'm suggesting to all of you, and I think the takeaway from all of this, is that we are in a pre-revolutionary environment, that we're going to have to burn down the entire edifice of power, and there is no alternative. We can't vote our way out of this. We tried to the extent that we could. It was Donald Trump, and Donald Trump, it appears, is either a front man for this sort of corruption, or he's at the epicenter of it too, with one Jeffrey Epstein, who it seems views Trump as even worse than himself. So we are in a different world now, ladies and gentlemen, and this is a massive victory. This is an apocalyptic moment. An apocalypse means revelation. I think this is just the beginning of something much, much bigger, an earthquake that's going to bring the whole damn system down. And you guys started that process some 10 years ago.
Oh, well, thank you, Cameron.
Do we have that saved in the outline? There was an email sent back and forth about every cell in Trump's body. You remember? No?
I have the one where he talks about how Trump is a piece of shit. Is that what you're?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is that or is that in the next segment?
It's 16.
Okay. Well, the other stuff I was going to mention here is like, and I think that these have been coming out a little bit more today. You know, there have been kind of waves of this stuff coming out, but look at this email. This is from Epstein, between Epstein and Mitch Weber. Mitch Weber is the president of the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C.
Yep.
Dude, get it together.
I apologize. Mr. Epstein, what you were asking on the phone, I'm sorry, I'm a little confused about what you were asking on the phone. And what you're asking now, the question is, what would happen if one were to transport a minor for sex or to transport oneself with the intent to have sex with a minor into a state in which the age of consent is below 18, assuming the minor is above the age of consent in the given state? And then Epstein emails back, let's also look at sex tourism laws, going someplace with specific intent to have underage sex.
Is this confirmed?
This is a real email.
For those of you that, if this is confirmed, for those of you that are just listening, this is sent from mweber@law.harvard.edu. It's sent from his work account. And the subject line is regarding federal sex trafficking and states with lower ages of consent. That's literally in the subject line of the email.
Yeah. So
brazen.
I mean, I'm assuming it's real. I guess it might not be real. I don't have any reason to doubt it. I could go look it up, I'm sure.
Good heavens.
But yeah. So there's things like that. Then there's things like where did it go? Come back here. Did I exit out? No. Here it is. They're like Epstein on murdering female children. Quote, they're like shrimp. You throw away the head and keep the body.
Yep.
Like, are you kidding me? So yeah, I mean, it's been, Epstein was Pizzagate was real. Epstein was Pizzagate. That's it. Like, we all lost our jobs and our careers for nothing.
Yeah.
We were right. And now these people control the government.
Yeah. It's like a demonic possession.
Yeah.
I think that people are not focusing on that enough.
There's also some stuff that was coming out that was really interesting. I think I have it in my bookmark folder pertaining to what was going on in Greece at the time. Some of these emails are showing the Greek debt crisis was fabricated to save the German and French banks. And of course, if you remember, in 2013, in Greece, the group of people that was working to like free their government, that was the Golden Dawn Party. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Remember these guys?
Yep.
And yeah, Golden Dawn was like a neo-Nazi party or whatever. But they all got rounded up and thrown into jail, every one of their elected officials, by the Prime Minister of Greece, who's in the files.
Oh my gosh.
That was coordinating directly with Epstein on the Greek debt crisis.
This is so big. Yeah. This makes me feel like maybe we shouldn't be doing anything because it's just the odds are insurmountable and everything is When am I going
to get drone striked?
Yeah.
Just put me out of my misery.
We're paranoid. We're too small for that.
Send in the drones.
Listen, a couple things. So, I have tried to articulate the nature of the elites in this country because depending on the space that you're in, you tend to compartmentalize them. But I have said repeatedly, and I think that this is absolutely dispositive in this regard, that the base layer of the Jewish power structure in the world is the financial system. That is where all of the bodies are buried. Now, why is what's happening so profoundly important? This is not simply about revelations of untoward behavior, of extortion rackets, of pedophilia. That's bad enough. And to some degree, that's been operating in the background for some time, meaning that the public is becoming more and more aware of that sort of thing. And obviously, whenever you're talking about children, you're talking about crossing a line that you can never come back from, right? But what's equally important is what we've talked about on this program for the better part of a year now, or a year and a half. And that is that the financial system, the base layer, the funding mechanism that enables all of the corruption, right? Remember, for Epstein to do what he had to do, he had to have funding. He had to have a cash surplus. He had to have liquidity. That funding mechanism, the infrastructure that these people use to leverage power and dominate us, is internally collapsing. It's happening with the demise and disintegration of the Japanese yen and their bond market and their banking system. It's happening on Wall Street. It's happening in the shadow banks. It's happening in commercial real estate. It's happening in Silicon Valley, as I mentioned a moment ago, with this artificial intelligence boondoggle. I mean, there was just some, and I don't remember the specific details. Maybe Dave, you can look it up. But I think it was Microsoft commissioned a 10 or $12 billion project to build a data center in like Wisconsin or something. And that has ballooned to $24 billion. We are spending, I think it's triple what we spent on the Apollo moon program in the 1960s on building these massive data centers across this country. And who's managing all of it? Well, it's a lot of the folks that appear to be in Peter Thiel and Richard Epstein or Jeffrey Epstein's Rolodex. Okay. That system, ladies and gentlemen, is blowing up. It's demolitioning before our eyes. And that is in part why I think these revelations are coming forth. Now, as far as the timing of these things, I'm sure I don't know. Here's the negative of it, I suppose. The negative is that potentially these things are being disseminated, and this is not my idea, I've heard others say this, to sort of threaten Donald Trump indirectly, because he is heavily mentioned in these files. I mean, this is absolutely defamatory towards the president, and maybe this was sent as a message, a subtle message, or a not so subtle message to say, look, we can destroy you if you do not do our bidding. That's pretty dark, and maybe that's possible. I think something else may be going on. It may be that there are forces inside the government that recognize that this country is on the cusp of making catastrophic decisions, particularly overseas, and specifically with this war in Iran. And maybe they're dumping it to get it out to the public, to start this fire again, in the hopes that the public will wake up, get angry, and demand some kind of justice, to pressure the president domestically in the hopes that it will short circuit this war overseas. Either is speculation, I have no idea. But it is odd that a lot of these files have been dumped at this particular moment when we are on the cusp of entering a disastrous war for this country.
You know, one of the other things that is interesting with these emails, this is one that I just saw today, and it's this one from Jeff Epstein to Peter Thiel, June 26th, 2016. This is Brexit is just the beginning. Thiel says of what? Epstein says a return to tribalism, counter to globalization, amazing new alliances. You and I both agreed zero interest rates were too high, and as I said in your office, finding things on their way to collapse was much easier than finding the next bargain. And so, like, it's just really interesting. Like, okay, here we are. Like, back in 2016, the alt-right, you know, all these different nationalist groups that were popping up, we were all on that. We were on the crest of that wave, and that all got kind of stamped back with Charlottesville and everything that happened after that. But here's Epstein and Peter Thiel recognizing the exact same thing happening and attempting to capitalize on it, co-opt it for their own.
Well, I
ends.
think that one of the reasons that Epstein is not being indicted properly in the dissident right is that he was a racial supremacist that recognized race realism in a way that people are finding meaningful. And Jewish supremacy is all over the Epstein files. And I thought that that was such an interesting angle of the Epstein files, because if you're going to take anything away from this last dump, I think that it's understanding the mind, the Jewish hive mind, and how they think that it is us versus them. Is this the race and IQ one?
Yeah. Well, this was super interesting, right?
It's Noam Chomsky.
Jeff Epstein emailing back and forth with Noam Chomsky. And they're sending him a link to the rightstuff.biz, to Mike Enoch's platform. Yeah. Then there's this other email. I think I tweeted it out. Bro, these emails. Like, if I wasn't laughing, I'd be crying, okay? So I hate to be making... I also have like a nervous tick where I laugh when I'm uncomfortable as like a filler for just so the audience is aware.
Like the rest of us, you weirdo.
No, I was trained not to say And
it's so much better than cackling like an evil hyena.
True.
Don't you know?
But yeah, where's this email? Here it is. So I can't even. We're going to get banned from YouTube if I say it. But here's the email. Stop gun crime. Ban N-words. The article is extremely amusing in the sense that it juxtaposes several questions relating to the gun control policy when the author himself is the answer to his own question. More N-words equals more murder. Duh.
Is this to himself?
No, I don't know who this is to.
Oh, good Lord.
I screenshotted it.
Let's get into some of the Jewish psychology segment of this show.
All right. But first, speaking of burning it all down and collapse and this thing going on at same, like, listen, if you're going to run some sort of small motorized boat onto St. Bart's Island this coming New Year's Eve, you're going to need some tactical supplies to get the job like that done. I am disavowing that. I would never endorse that. But listen, if you need a thermal monocular, our friends at odggsupply.com, they've got you covered. Whether it's thermal monoculars or if it's blankies because you're tired and you need to take a little nap, rowing the boat from St. Bart's to Little St. James, that can be tiring. Sometimes you need to take a little breather.
This is my fault for not writing out the transition to this ad.
And you need, listen, you need to get a rucksack so that you can be prepped. You've got your, your emergency food rations, your paracord, and everything else that you need to be prepared. It's all over at odggsupply.com. Use promo code Backlash25 and you will get 25% off of your order. They've got all kinds of outdoor gear, tactical stuff, MREs, those little blankets that you can like throw in your pocket, the foil blankets.
Blankets?
Yeah, they got a pocket blanket. Perhaps if you're spying on somebody and you need to take notes, they've got the Write in the Rain notebook. So visit odggsupply.com, use promo code Backlash25, and don't be unprepared on your next incursion to St. Bart's Island. You don't want to fail.
Dude, we're going to sponsor emails. We're going to be in trouble. Like, stop connecting my project, my website to Epstein Island. Stop telling people to come and attack St. James. Don't do any of that stuff.
Oh, my God.
We cannot offer any advice on the show. Let's talk a little bit about what they think of us, the Goyim. Goyim unite. Let's pull up 10.
The Goyim united will never be defeated.
I know, right? Is this yacht slut? This is my favorite. This is my favorite one. Of all of the emails, this is my favorite one. Subject, yacht slut. From the Epstein files, the Jeffrey Epstein file, the Jeffrey Epstein and Hollywood publicist Peggy Siegel casually sorting party guests by ethnicity. Peggy Siegel, Hollywood's powerful publicist. She's the one who got Epstein back into the elite New York City social circles after his 2008 conviction. Subject line, yacht slut. Epstein, Dubin, Dershowitz, Zuckerman all said yes to September 8th, the Yom Kippur redemption. Sounds like a wrestling event. I need you to oversee it. She responds, it's going to be 100% Jew. Even Perlman on Yum Yum has some Goyim. On Jane Fonda, my new best friend, nothing like an ex-Jew hater with a Jewish boyfriend to mix things up. Epstein replies, no, Goyim in abundance. JP Morgan execs, brilliant wasps. Dubin, billionaire hedge fund manager whose wife was one of the Epstein's alleged recruiters. Dershowitz, Epstein's defense attorney. Mort Zuckerman, billionaire media mogul, owned the Daily News. Look at that. They're actually having Jew parties and then cultivating lists of acceptable Goyim for financial exploitation. This was so telling. This is like seeing the logistics behind this. I didn't think it would be laid so bare.
Goyim in abundance.
Goyim in abundance. Let's pull up 11.
Sounds like one of my parties.
And this is the Jew v. non-Jew mentality. This is Epstein to Michael Wolff. He says, war between the Jews and the non-Jews. Jews presently winning. This is what they think. The world is about making Jewish culture dominant. It's about Jewish supremacy, and everybody else is trash, is subhuman. They don't even think we have souls. They can exploit us. They can sexually enslave Goyim, and there are no moral repercussions to them.
We're going to get into that a little bit later, too.
Oh, this one's good. Epstein files Elizabeth Maxwell, wife of Ghislaine Maxwell's father, circulates a petition to Friends of Israel in 2004 demanding Google censor the anti-Semitic site JewWatch to keep it from appearing as the #1 search result for Jew. And eventually they did succeed in this. So much of these documents are about censorship, are about surveillance. So I think that we're vindicated in that way. I mean, people thought that we were being crazy for saying that we were being censored. It's so obvious. And then this one, man, the Epstein files are making one thing abundantly clear. Jewish supremacy isn't just a conspiracy theory. Let's pull up this email. Is this Jeff to himself? No, it's to Roger Schenck. This is the way the Jew makes money and made a fortune in the past 10 years, selling short the shipping futures. Let the Goyim deal in the real world. And doesn't that summarize everything that Jeff Epstein was about and all of his comrades? They were going to deal in these speculative markets of made up money where no one produces anything or does any hard labor. And they're just going to let the Goyim deal with the real world so that they don't have to, so that they can live in their mansions and they can do whatever they want. Maybe we should talk about it. And the way that he was able to conduct himself and to navigate the 2008 financial crisis from solitary confinement from a supermax jail was just unreal. And I will say that the Epstein Bannon interview, I found it mostly filler. It was pretty boring, but this was a pretty good takeaway. Let's play 135 to 340.
Yes.
Close it down. And one of the guards said, do you understand there's Wall Street's crashing. I'm worried about my pension fund. What should I do? And I said, sorry, Wall Street's crashing? What's happened? And he said, there's some crisis and some companies are going bankrupt. I said, are you sure? And he said, yeah, it's all over the papers. We're all terrified we're going to lose our life savings because we have either a 401k or our pension funds. We don't know anything about money. Mr. Epstein, can you tell us, like, what's going on? Am I going to be able to afford my children's education? Am I going to be bankrupt like this company called Lehman Brothers? And there's another company in the front page today called Bear Stearns. Oh, no, I said. Why? Because that's the company I was a partner in. And in fact, that was a company I had a very large investment in. So, as a great story, I didn't have my Wall Street Journal, but in the early mornings, you're allowed to make 2 phone calls, collect. And when you pick up the phone, you can dial a number. And when the person picks up, they say, you're getting a call from the Palm Beach County Jail. Will you accept reverse charges? And the person either says yes, and the call goes through, or the person says no. The person I had called was Jimmy Kane, the president of Bear Stearns. And I said, tell me what's going on.
That's good.
And so
he was able to just insert himself directly into the middle of the 2008 financial crisis, protect himself from supermax jail. And then he also called the Treasury. Did you see this? Let's pull up 15.
Yes.
This is probably the most important stuff that came out of the Bannon interview.
Yes.
And in fact, from my telephones against the wall with my little metal wires, because the next day I talked to another person in Washington about the issues of what I thought was happening, and I made the same discussion about the...
They were at the Treasury Department?
Yes.
So in a 6x9 cell, in
The phones were outside the cell.
in Palm Beach County, California.
West Palm Beach, Florida.
West Palm Beach, Florida.
This was your juice diet.
West Palm Beach, Florida. West Palm Beach, Florida. West Palm Beach, Florida. You're making a call to Washington, D.C. to talk to some deputies, Secretary of Treasury.
Someone in Treasury.
Right. Someone in Treasury.
Right. And in fact,
Unreal. It's just unreal from jail.
And this is to say nothing of this. And I know I've brought this up several times. You know, of course, Steve Saylor, not really our guy, but there's this article here from Un's Review. Oh, geez, what happened?
You're just in the comments. It's okay.
Did Jeffrey Epstein personally set off the financial crash of 2008? And it's very possible that he did, because his fund at Bear Stearns was like levered up 19-1. Just unbelievable. You can go and read this entire article about it, but they put the pieces together. Steve Saylor puts the pieces together. And as it turns, 17-1. At this time, the fund had a leverage ratio of 17-1, which meant for every dollar invested, there were $17 of borrowed funds. Therefore, the redemption of this investment would have been equivalent to removing $1 billion from the very thinly traded CDO market, the collateralized debt obligation market. Selling of CDO assets to meet the redemptions that month began a repricing process and general freeze in the CDO market. The repricing of CDO assets caused the collapse of the fund, and 3 months later, in July, the eventual collapse of Bear Stearns in March 2008. It is likely Epstein lost most of his investment, but it's not known how much was his. So, like, he's literally there in jail, calling the secretaries of the Treasury, calling Bear Stearns, calling JP Morgan, and it was like his own fund that blew up because he wasn't there to manage it because he got popped for diddling kids. What planet are we living on?
Yeah, absolutely crazy. Cameron, what do you think this says about broader financial markets?
Well, what you're seeing is that all systems are human systems. And for how long have I been telling you folks that if you get higher and higher in the power structure, you go as high as you possibly can, you climb the plateau, what do you find? You find Jeffrey Epstein. You find people like him. And essentially what that suggests is that the entire financial system as structured today is a fraud. It's fraudulent. And look, let's be clear. I mean, you guys may not remember 2008 all that well. I do remember it well, in part because I was at sea when it happened and it directly affected us. I mean, we were getting briefings on it at the time. But that nearly brought down the entire global economy. And what was the anesthetic that they used? Well, basically, they conjoined the government and Wall Street together, which is what you have today, ladies and gentlemen. There is no financial system. There is the U.S. government / financial system. It's all one thing. So if any part of it goes, the whole thing is going to go. And who are the wizards of finance, right? Who are the gods of finance behind the machine, right? Who's the Wizard of Oz? It's people like Jeffrey Epstein, who are corrupt and ultimately are the architects of their own destruction. Now, there's one other thing I want to say on this briefly. There's a book that Woodrow Wilson wrote in 1913. It's called The New Freedom. You guys should look it up if you're not familiar with it. In that book, listen to what Wilson says. He says, "Since I entered politics, I have chiefly had men's views confided to me privately. Some of the biggest men in the United States in the field of commerce and manufacture are afraid of somebody, are afraid of something. They know that there is a power somewhere so organized, so subtle, so watchful, so interlocked, so complete, so pervasive that they had better not speak above their breath when they speak in condemnation of it." 1913, that was written. I wonder what power structure they were talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, we're at the end of this. We're at the end of this cycle, which is why this is an earthquake. This is broken containment. And it stands to reason that the damage control and the agents of that damage control, people like Ben Shapiro, they're sinking fast. Their star is falling. And why is it falling? It's not simply that they're tied to this broader Jewish power structure and all of its insidious tentacles. It's that the nature of the discourse that they have created in this country, the weapon that they have applied surgically and targeted us with over the last 50 years was that you're guilty until proven innocent, not the other way around, right? By virtue of being a white Christian American, you are a criminal.
In a free and
a horrible racist. You are a terrible person by default. And so now what's happening is an inversion of that. And what Ben Shapiro is asking us to do is to be judicial. It is to take things on the facts. Well, that sounds nice, but that's not going to happen because karma has a way of coming back upon you. And that's what's happening to these people. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a massive breakthrough. This is a victory. This is a feather in our cap. Understand its significance because this is just the beginning. This is the end of their dominion over us.
I'm still scared though. Like all I've wanted to do since I started this job is to break away from this Jewish cabal and their rule. But when it really comes down to it, I'm afraid of what is going to happen. I'm afraid that there's going to be mass poverty. I'm afraid that white people might not rise to the occasion. And I can't be the only one. I mean, Cameron has a lot of faith in our people, and it's really kept me going here. But I'm pretty worried that we're going to drop the ball for what is easy instead of what is right.
Goyim.
Yeah.
Goyim. We're going to sit back and we're going to fight each other about, what people do in their private time and their private lives, right? Like this is one of the things that's been just dominating X for the past 24 hours. It's like Epstein's going on, global financial collapse, and it's like, no. I want to find out which of my favorite influencers are sleeping with each other.
Well, everybody wants to know that.
But it's
I'm sympathetic to that though.
Goyim. This is Goyish behavior.
I understand that, but I am sympathetic to that because these are painful realizations and people need to take a break and log off. But that doesn't mean engage in internet issues. It means pick up your knitting or whatever else you're doing.
Knitting.
Look,
yeah.
we're gonna have to see how deep the rabbit hole goes. I don't know. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein may be the sort of sugar-coated top.
Yeah.
Much deeper layer. I don't know. But what I'm suggesting is that we're going to find out. Okay. And I think there's something else that's important is that we're beginning to sort of break through, to punch through or overcome a lot of these false frames, which were irrelevant distractions like the deep state, right? I'm so sickened by that term for so long. That is a false frame. There's no deep state. There is a state, and that state is crumbling before you. In all of its machinations, whether you're talking about the elected government, right? Everybody on Capitol Hill, the vast majority of whom are absolutely and totally ensnared in this corruption. How do I know that? Because every time Benjamin Netanyahu shows up, he gets a round of applause 40, 50 times. He gives a speech, right? All of these people are pushing for war with Iran. All of these people support bailing out the big banks. All of these people are opposing mass deportations. Why? Because they're ensnared in a power structure. It's not a deep state. It is a completely corrupted and compromised system. And that system now is careening completely out of control. Yes, you're right, Rebecca. These are hard truths to deal with. They are, but they must be dealt with because the sooner we deal with them, we accept them, the sooner we can begin to really solve these problems. And we will. We will. Remember something else, too. This is not unprecedented. If you go back to the 19th century, there was a prominent German historian. His name is Heinrich von Treitschke. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him. But Treitschke was an academic. He was an intellectual. And he was dealing with this sort of expansion, this growth of Jewish influence and power inside of Germany. And his principal complaint, and he made it in an academic way, was that Jews don't assimilate. They don't assimilate. Well, what do we see in these emails? Do we see a sense of patriotism? Do we see a sense of solidarity with the people in the United States, right? The WASPs or anybody else that considers themselves Americans? No, we don't see that at all. What we see is a kind of hatred, a loathing, a condescension, a failure to assimilate. Essentially, they have used our society as a gambling machine, as a casino, and the collateral damage has been our economy. That's where we are.
But I'm very concerned that Jewish subversion within the WASP community has outpaced the incoming financial collapse. And so I'm worried that we're not going to develop a meaningful racial consciousness before we have to deal with the downfall of the economy, in which case we're going to really struggle. We're really going to struggle to keep it together. I mean, that's what this show is about. We're trying to do that, but people aren't there yet. I think people watch this show and the normie watches the show and they are probably horrified.
The racial consciousness is there and it never left. And this is another myth that you hear. How do I know that? All you have to do is look at general social survey data in the United States. How is it that white people across this country manage to self-segregate? How do they do that? How do they figure out which neighborhood to live in or where to send their children? How does any group in this country do it? Because tribalism is inherent, it's embedded, it's part of who you are. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's natural. That's why there's this thing called the nation that coalesces around a founding ethnos that sees itself as part of a bigger extended family. That's not the issue. The issue, Rebecca, is that this democratic government, as structured, maintains a fiction, a facade that we can participate, that we can interact with it, and we can salvage something. That fiction is dying. And the Epstein files are just another blow to that facade. And so is the failure of MAGA. Now, MAGA has not collapsed, not over yet. But the fact of the matter is that they're guilty until proven innocent, right? So nobody is running around saying, well, the facts of the case are not dispositive towards the president. No, nobody's saying that. The president's poll numbers are falling. The MAGA movement is increasingly anemic. What you're looking for is a counterthrust. We're not going to get the counterthrust until the MAGA movement completely implodes. But that is in process, and the Epstein files are accelerating it, and that's what's important.
That's reassuring.
I was also going to say there's this new website out, peaceandquiet.io. We're not being paid to shill them.
This is amazing.
But, talking about this idea of a racial consciousness arising, I mean, people are making websites like this so that you can basically, you can go in the filters and, filter out Waffle House. And be like, I don't want to live anywhere near a Waffle House.
Or pawn shops.
Right.
Wait, can you go back to those filters? Those were great.
Hold on a second.
That's fantastic.
Up. Yeah, it says over here.
Bail bonds, public housing, Section 8.
Yeah, Section 8.
Methadone clinics, payday loans, beauty supplies.
And you see they've got a 1.5 times multiplier.
This is the kind of white weaponized autism that makes me feel better. Hoopty listings.
How do we? Yeah, let's activate all of these, and then we'll go back.
Boost
again.
Popeyes,
Boost Mobile, liquor stores, pawn shops.
What's LIHTC?
I don't know, means. But yeah, and so this is how. Dang it! It was here. Hold on, let me refresh it. It was working better. I was playing with it, but anyway, you get the idea. There's a whole thing.
That's so just fantastic.
And it actually looked like Colorado was not a bad spot. The purple cells you want to stay away from. The green cells, they're okay. There's Denver. But,
wow, this is incredible. All right, I feel a little bit better.
A little bit better.
We should talk about Trump, but before
we get into the Trump stuff,
go to the ladies' room.
What ads am I supposed to read?
We're gonna do Antelope Hill.
Well, right, and so what we were going to talk about a little bit, and we did talk about it, is this the concept, the way that Epstein views all of this stuff, right? It's all Jew-Gentile. It's all about the Goyim and the Jews and how the Jews are winning. And that is their mentality. And so there's a book I'm going to recommend for you to kind of get into this Jewish mentality, to understand how they think. And it's from our friends over at Antelope Hill Publishing. They're fighting to keep history alive amidst a regime of anti-white censorship to train a new generation of dissidents to fight the anti-white Jewish regime. Their varied catalog includes the newly updated and expanded third edition of Kevin MacDonald's Culture of Critique, the essential modern text on Jewish identity, Dr. Ricardo Duchesne's magnum opus, Greatness and Ruin, the definitive scholarly explanation of European exceptionalism, as well as works by Kerry Bolton, Paul Kersey, and Josh Neal. Antelope Hill recently brought David Irving's iconic Nuremberg the Last Battle back into print and have numerous translations of historical works from eras such as Fascist Italy, National Socialist Germany, and Civil War Spain, previously unavailable in English. There are also plenty of books on contemporary issues such as transgenderism and the opioid crisis, Christian nationalism, as well as history books, novels, and children's books. So whatever your interest is, you're bound to find books that you like at Antelope Hill, all professionally published with sleek, modern cover art. Help us and help our people by checking out companies that share our values and fight for our cause. Visit Antelope Hill Publishing today. And the book that I was going to recommend, let me see if I can pull it up. Yeah, here it is. The book is You Gentiles by Maurice Samuel. And if you use promo code Backlash10, you can get 10% off your purchase of this book. They did not ask me to shill this particular book, but I've read it, and I think that it's worth reading. It basically goes over the Jewish worldview and how they see themselves as the great destroyers of our culture and of our society. So if you want to understand where Jeffrey Epstein is coming from when he says, the Jews, the Goyim, and all of this, you got to read Maurice Samuel's book, You Gentiles. You will get a little bit of insight. And as far as creating a, white positive identity that can be used to keep us all together, we have to patronize white businesses. And that means patronizing companies like Above Time Coffee Roasters. They've got wonderful, small batch, handcrafted, hand-roasted, fair trade coffee available on their website. The only pro-white coffee company in the United States, probably in the world.
Yeah, really.
So visit their website, use promo code Backlash10. You can also get 10% off your order of Above Time Coffee, which is delicious. It's wonderful. I'm drinking it now. You should be drinking it too. It's AboveTimeCoffee.com. So please visit them. We've also got links in the description below.
Thank you so much, Above Time Coffee Roasters and Antelope Hill. Let's talk a little bit about Trump. Let's see what Epstein thought of Trump. Can you pull up 16? Good Lord. Okay. Jeffrey Epstein, the guy who ran a child sex slave empire, said Trump is the worst person he's ever met. This is to Larry Summers. He says, recall, I've told you I've met some very bad people, but none as bad as Trump. Not one decent cell in his body. So yes, dangerous.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And let's talk a little bit about Trump corruption. Let's pull up 17. This is unreal. Cameron put this in our chat. Okay. 4 days before Trump's inauguration, lieutenants to an Abu Dhabi royal, you're going to have to read this.
4 days before Donald Trump's inauguration, lieutenants to an Abu Dhabi royal secretly signed a deal with the Trump family to buy a 49% stake in World Liberty Financial for $500 million, according to documents and people familiar. The buyer paid half up front, steering $187 million to the Trump family entities and $31 million to Steve Witkoff's entities. The investment was backed by the United Arab Emirates National Security Advisor Tanoun bin Zayed. The deal put two executives at the company, G42, on the board of WLF alongside Eric Trump and Zach Witkoff. This is from the Wall Street Journal. Unbelievable.
Cameron, can you shed some light on this and put it in layman's terms for us?
Well, look, I think that everything we've suspected about Donald Trump from the inception of this program, and what is it that we suspected? That something was not right about this reelection campaign, that something changed in the summer of 2024, particularly after Biden sort of stumbled and then you got Kamala Harris. And the suspicion was that Donald Trump had made some deals that he hadn't made to become president in 2016, principally with Miriam Adelson and others inside the sort of Jewish power structure that runs the United States. What I think we're beginning to learn is that, well, this wasn't just a Faustian bargain, that the president joined an elite club to enrich himself, his family estate, and leverage the presidency in ways that are completely unprecedented to do it. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I talked about something called the Board of Peace, which the president has used a UN Security Council initiative to justify. And who's sitting on that board? Well, Jared Kushner, his son-in-law, the husband of his daughter, Steve Witkoff, among others that are prominent Jews inside the Jewish power structure. So I think what we're seeing here, folks, is one of, if not the most corrupt presidents in the history of this country. I mean, remember that Biden, who's absolutely corrupt, there's no question about it, in part because of his son Hunter's enrichment, sitting on sort of a lot of these boards for major companies, corporations around the world by virtue of his father. That's like chump change compared to what we're discussing on this program tonight. Essentially, the president is using the Oval Office and the institution of the presidency, and that's what it is. It is an institution to enrich himself in a shameless and rank way of completely unprecedented corruption. That's what this is.
Yeah, and just so that people are aware, this article, what is this from the Wall Street Journal? They're talking about how these was it Saudi royals or whatever are putting money into World Liberty Financial. World Liberty Financial is the Trump family's decentralized finance app, where basically they've been using this as a vehicle to buy Bitcoin, to buy all kinds of other assets. Because why? Well, because the president is in control of the country and he can devalue the dollar and hide his money in assets that are going to appreciate. Granted, Bitcoin has been taking a little dip.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's a buying opportunity. It's on sale, 40% off right now. I mean, geez, go to river.com, get signed up. We've got a link.
This is not financial advice.
But here's the interesting thing about World Liberty Financial. They've got, in their products here, what's this? Oh, look at that. USD1. They're running their own stable coin. So when you put this all together, you've got World Liberty Financial, you've got this dollar stable coin that they're running. Remember Trump coin? Remember Melania coin? Remember all of these?
There was a Melania coin?
The Melania coin tanked even faster than the Trump coin did.
Well,
and he's got, what was it, Cameron? I think you remember. It was like 50% of his net worth he's gotten since he's taken office the second term. And most of it was coming by collecting the fees as a market maker for his own crypto coins, using his own dollar stable coin, which he funded by using the money that he got from these people in Saudi fucking Arabia. Holy shit.
Look, don't quote me, but I think the president has tripled his wealth since he was elected in 2024. I mean, this is astounding. You're talking about a guy who's a billionaire, okay? Virtually everything this president has done, sort of making nice with the Bitcoin community, signing this legislation called the Genius Act, which was architected by a guy named Stephen Myron. And Stephen Myron is another Wall Street representative of the Jewish power structure. Or this executive order that he signed, I think, in August of last year, democratizing access to private equity for 401ks. Mm-hmm. So basically turning over tranches of wealth, which is what your 401k is, your hard-earned 401k, and hopefully it's matched by your employer. That money, that capital is now accessible by people like Larry Fink and BlackRock. This is a complete and total capitulation to special interests on Wall Street and most assuredly the Jewish power structure. That's what this entire administration is. And now here we sit, I think mere days, perhaps weeks away from striking Iran, a country that has absolutely nothing to do with our national interests. We talked about that in recent programs, so I'm not going to belabor the point. But again, why? Because of the same group. Because Donald Trump sold out completely to the Jewish power structure. Now the United States is cratering as a result. And all of these are just data points building the case for rank corruption.
That's absolutely true. Dave, we're going to do something unprecedented on this show.
Oh, well, hold on. Before we do that, I wanted to play a little bit of this thing.
Okay.
Can I take us off on like a little detour for a second? Just like the first minute or so.
Okay.
We've got to talk. It's so powerful. You have to see.
You guys
this
have
thing.
to watch this if you haven't watched it. It's Harrison Smith.
Harrison Smith put out this video, and I said, we're at war whether you realize it or not. Those people are the enemies of the entire human race, as St. Paul says in 1 Thessalonians 2:14-16, not because we hate them, but because they hate Christ. I'm just going to play like the first minute or so, and you'll get a taste of exactly what is going on here.
I think there's another revolution coming. I tend to steer it along with the achievement of a broader peace. When history is within reach.
So what Israel is fighting here is not merely a seven-front war, but an eight-front war.
For the Jews against Rome.
Rome and Jerusalem clashed over values, with a great tragedy for the Jewish people.
Well, we lost that one. We have to win the next one.
But the new Rome, the United States,
Jews against Rome.
We stopped playing defense and have moved to offense.
The weapons change over time. You can't fight today with swords. That doesn't work very well.
But we need the kind of genius that manufactured Apollo gold pagers and infiltrated Hezbollah for over a decade to prepare for this battle.
But we have to fight with the weapons that apply to the battlefields in which we're engaged.
Anyway, the point is, it's captivating. You've got to watch this thing.
It's very good.
But it really makes it clear that we are in a war, that we are the eighth front of Israel's war, the Jews' war on the world, on order, on everything. And one of the key points, one of the key intersections of this whole thing is a group called Chabad. And I think that's what we were going to, right?
It was. I want you to talk about Chabad. I want you to explain the associations of Chabad. And I want you to tie in this Charles Johnson Trump Israeli asset document.
Where do we begin? Do we begin with the
Yes.
Do we begin with the document
Let's
itself?
do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so here we have this CHS document that's been come out. It's been bandied around. Here's the full thing. Disclosed TV published it. And it's talking about how, Alan Dershowitz is some sort of Mossad agent and that Jared Kushner was his student. Dershowitz told the confidential human source that blah, 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 that if he were young again, he would be holding a stun gun as an Israeli intelligence Mossad agent. The source believed that Dershowitz was co-opted by Mossad and subscribed to their mission. Elsewhere in the document, it talks about how Donald Trump is compromised by a group. Here it is. Confidential human source advised that Chabad is doing everything they can to co-opt the Trump presidency. Chabad is basically state-sanctioned Judaism. It is used by Putin to keep tabs on the Russo-Jewish oligarchs. On the day that Trump was elected president, Ivanka Trump and Jared were at the gravesite of Rabbi Schneerson, who was the most powerful rabbi in the Chabad network. Jared didn't disclose his stake in cadre, blah, 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 blah. So there is this claim that's out there, and it noted the claim comes from Charles Johnson. So take with that what you will, as far as credibility. He's been known to exaggerate certain things from time to time. But there is something very clearly going on. Not only was Jared Kushner and Ivanka at the gravesite of the Rebbe the day of the election in 2016, the first time that he got elected, This go around, we had Donald Trump with none other than Howard Lutnik at the gravesite of the Lubavitcher Rebbe Menachem Mendel Schneerson. And so you can see here, they're like, being given these notes. They read the notes, then they rip it up. They throw it into the grave. They don't talk. It's very bizarre. And so one of the things that Cameron wanted me to kind of talk about, and I guess I can bring up, where is the, okay, state sync, hold on a second. Where is it? Okay, I don't have it here. I'll pull it up here. Chabad Wiki. And the show grinds to a halt as soon as I take the reins.
No, it's okay.
Okay, so Chabad-Lubavitch is a group, it's a Hasidic movement, right? This is a sect within Judaism. Here's a big picture of everybody at 770. These are the ones that wear the fedora hats, right? This is all of the rabbis.
Good Lord.
Meeting in front of 770. And so this particular sect of Judaism is the place where the tunnels were. You remember the tunnels?
Who could forget?
Who could forget? This was like 2 years ago. One night, all of these videos of Jews running out of the tunnels as police started bringing these stained mattresses out of the bottom of the basement.
Baby chairs.
All kinds of bizarre stuff. And so Chabad-Lubavitch is this sect of Judaism that was started by a guy named the Baal Shem Tov. And it was started in Russia. And it's very interesting to get into all of the different intersections. But basically, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Menachem Mendel Schneerson, was in Russia and came to America with the help of Idaho Senator, and I forget his name. Of course I forget his name. He was the America First guy that was working with Henry Ford, of all people. I have the newspaper in my office. I should have prepared more. But the point is that this group of Judaism, they hang out in Brooklyn, Crown Heights, and essentially what they do is they create a network. They create a network by going to rich, powerful Jews that are not going to synagogue. They're not studying the Torah. They're not, wearing the hats. They're not participating in Jewish life, right? They're not like living in the ghettos with the rest of the Jewish people. But they will find these high-powered, highly placed Jewish merchants, traders, financiers, company owners. And the proposition is basically like, hey, listen, you're not being that good of a Jew, so why don't you give me your money and let me work with you, and in that way, you will then be a good Jew.
So it's like tithing.
And you're helping us, right? And so they've created this whole network. The Cars for Kids, you guys remember 1877 Cars?
They got blown up because of this.
Yeah, Vincent James actually is the one that blew it up. But that was a Chabad operation. A lot of these different operations are Chabad-Lubavitch, and they're spreading. They're spreading all throughout the world. We've actually got I do have a photograph here. This is every Chabad center in the world. And they're everywhere, absolutely everywhere. And they all get together in Brooklyn and they trade their networking tips. They trade these people like playing cards. Javier Milei, you'll remember Javier Milei, when he got elected, the very first thing that he did was take a trip to Brooklyn to the Chabad house, where he did the same thing that Donald Trump and Ivanka and Jared did. And he went to the grave of the Rebbe. To the Chabad people, going to the grave of the Rebbe is to what the Likud people are like going to kiss the wall, right? So the Chabad people think that Brooklyn is more sacred than Jerusalem. Seriously. She's like over here. Look at her. She's rolling her eyes at me.
For heaven's
I'm
sakes.
dead serious.
No, I don't doubt
They
you.
think this. And what's crazy about the Epstein documents is that Chabad visited Epstein. And not only did they visit Epstein, they were emailing back and forth with him. You know, here, dear Mr. Jeffrey Epstein, my family and I live on the island for 8.5 years. We run, this is the St. James Island. We've lived on the island
This
for the
is St. James Island?
Yeah. Or sorry, St. Thomas. We've lived on the island for the last 8.5 years. We run the local Chabad house as well as the Jewish Welcome Center in downtown. We've grown tremendously over the years and have touched tens of thousands of Jews visiting the island. We have an ongoing relationship and service with the majority of local Jews on the island as well. We're now embarking on a building campaign. The Jewish Community Campus. I have heard that you are an extremely generous individual, and it would be my honor to meet with you when you have time and share with you our accomplishments and future plans. I can take a boat to Little St. James, or we can meet in St. Thomas. Please be in touch and make this your Jewish 6 project. What does that mean?
That he had 5 previous Jewish projects?
It will bring you eternal nachas and meaningful joy. Thank you very much. Looking forward to hearing from you. This is from Rabbi Asher Fetterman. So we've got the email between Epstein and Chabad. Now check this out. This is real fucked up. Look at how close the Chabad house is to Little St. James. You could kayak there. It's like literally 3 miles away. So what was going on in St. Thomas Island? What's going on in the Virgin Islands?
Yeah.
And what's going on with Chabad-Lubavitch? You know, we did this show a couple of months ago about all these Hanukkah things that are going on. That's all Chabad.
Yeah.
The ones here in Idaho, those are all Chabad things. It's, I forget what his name is. See, I'm forgetting all
They like to do this, these public displays, because it's a visual representation of the submission of the Goyim.
Yes.
And that's what Chabad is all about.
Yeah. And so we've got this global network, world organized Jewry under the banner of Chabad that is organizing this stuff. They're meeting with Epstein. They're digging tunnels under 770. And not only that, but we've got all kinds of these interesting clips that we're going to play showing some of the networks that exist within Chabad. So here's one of them. So I haven't seen you in a while. It's been much too long. Here's a double portion. He gives him like $2. I came to request your blessing in all aspects, both personal and national. Since we've seen each other last, what matters, more matters have risen. There have been some developments. That which was then and still is now is that Mashiach has not yet arrived. So you should do something to hasten his arrival. We are doing. Seemingly not enough, as several hours of today have already passed. He hasn't arrived yet, but there are still a few hours left, so we should make an effort today as well. Good tidings. Like, are you serious? You know that the Hasidim place an emphasis that everything should be done out of joy. Good tidings, much success. So you've got here Benjamin Netanyahu meeting with this guy, Menachem Mendel Schneerson. I guess I should probably bring up a little bit about him. Menachem.
Good luck.
Mendel Schneerson.
You're a better speller than
Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah. So this is Menachem Mendel Schneerson. For those of you who don't know, the Jews in Chabad believed he was the Messiah. And dude, the rabbit hole on this goes so deep. At 770, they used to have this like operator's office where they would like literally have a guy in a room with telephones to every country. And they would be able to pick up the phone and call up immediately the Chabad house in a different country and pass messages along one to another, all operated out of this nexus at 770. They thought that Menachem Mendel Schneerson was the Messiah. Of course, he died. So
This goes so much deeper than people know, and it's so much darker.
it is darker. And it's because these people, specifically the Rebbe, who they think is the Messiah, he taught that non-Jewish souls are satanic. Here's what this article from Counterpunch says. While Chabad sometimes openly teaches that the soul of the Jew is different than the soul of the non-Jew, Schneerson's specific teachings on the subject are largely unknown. Quite likely, very few Americans, both Jews and non-Jews, are aware of Schneerson's teachings about the alleged deep differences between them and how these teachings are applied in the West Bank and Gaza. Let us look at Schneerson's word as quoted by two respected Jewish professors, Israel Shahak and Norton Mezvinsky, in their book, Jewish Fundamentalism in Israel. The book was praised by Noam Chomsky. Oh,
Look at that.
Look at that.
All
Noam Chomsky.
all over the Epstein files.
As many others, blah, 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 blah. The difference between a Jewish and a non-Jewish person stems from the common expression, let us differentiate. Thus, we do not have a case of profound change in which person is merely on a superior level. Rather, we have a case of let us differentiate between totally different species.
And this mentality is not, as is evidenced by the Epstein files, this is not just a Chabad belief system. This is a common belief system in standard Judaism about the Goyim.
Absolutely. This is what needs to be said about the body. The body of a Jewish person is of a totally different quality from the body of members of all the nations of the world. The difference is the inner quality between Jews and non-Jews is so great that the body should be considered as a completely different species. And even as a greater difference exists in regard to the soul, two contrary types of souls exist. A non-Jewish soul comes from three satanic spheres, while the Jewish soul stems from holiness. As has been explained, an embryo is called a human being because it has both the body and the soul. Thus, the difference between a Jewish and a non-Jewish embryo can be understood. The general difference between Jews and non-Jews is a Jew was not created as a means for some other purpose. He himself is the purpose, since the substance of all divine emanations was created only to serve the Jews. The important thing is that Jews, because they do not exist for any other aim, they are in themselves the divine aim. The center, the entire creation of a non-Jew exists only for the sake of the Jews.
Oh my gosh.
That is what Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson said. That is who they think the Messiah is. This is who is running organized Jewry in Idaho, by the way. And it's not just Idaho, it's all over the fucking world. Okay? And guess who else they control? It's not just Idaho. It's not just Idaho. Sorry, I'm going on a little long on this segment.
Today, Chabad owns Russia. Putin is a Chabadnik, and if I have time, I'll explain to you why, but it's not for now. I want to come back to the topic I'm speaking about. But Putin is a Chabadnik, and there are reasons why.
Oh, interesting. Putin is controlled by Chabad? Is it true? Chat, is this true? Actually, yeah. Here is all of Chabad's... Oh, shit. That was loud. Here's all of Chabad's rabbis in Russia. Check it out.
This can't be true.
This is totally
Putin's supposed
true.
to be our guy.
Putin is not the hero here, okay? It's just not happening. Here's a video. Sorry about frying your fucking ears, people. My bad. Here is a video of Putin meeting with the rabbis. And once again, you can differentiate what type of Jew you're dealing with based on the hat. The fedora hats are the Chabad people. So anyway, so you've got the meeting with Putin. Here is a quick video of an ex-Chabad member talking about all of this stuff so that it's not just the bigoted, racist, anti-Semite Dave Riley explaining all of this. Here it is from their own mouth.
It's exactly what I'm talking about. That's the lack of tolerance. That's the lack of diversity. That's the non-Jews are not as good as us, that they have souls that come from a place that's not pure, that they're rooted in a lower creation almost. I mean, you know, if you were going to look at the old evolution, except that you wouldn't view it as evolution because they don't believe in evolution. But if you were ranking, you know, human beings and a creation, right? So you would have Jews, this is them. Jews are on top. right? Then you've got non-Jews, then you have the great apes, then you have, right? And it goes down like this to rocks, right? So that's basically what it is. You can think of it another way is what I was saying is that famous drawing of whatever, the thing crawling out of the water, morphing into whatever, morphing into the ape, morphing into the prehistoric man, morphing into the human being, right? So it's the same thing, except there's an extra layer added in, and that's non-Jews, right before the Jews, right?
But you were part of Chabad. At one point in time, you believed this stuff?
Believed it? Well, yes and no. You can believe these things and not believe them at the same time.
What the fuck is he saying? You can believe these things and not believe them at the same time.
It's Jewish mental gymnastics.
So anyway, what we're talking about here is Jewish supremacy. Okay, that's what this boils down to. And Chabad-Lubavitch is just one sect of Judaism that has been extremely successful at its networking, at its co-option of governments,
It's
financial
the most
institutions.
powerful sect of Judaism,
Howard
though.
Lutnik is in Chabad. Jared Kushner is in Chabad. The people in Russia, and by the way, in Russia, there's this video clip. I couldn't find it, but there's a video clip where they're talking about we don't need an ADL. In Russia, we don't need a World Zionist Congress. We don't need the AJC. We have Chabad. It does all of it for us. And so when you see in the media these kind of limited hangouts where you've got Jews that are in control, like, for example, the FBI recently, right? You saw how the FBI started attacking the Anti-Defamation League. That's because they're done with the ADL. The ADL that's out. That was yesterday. Today, it's Chabad. That's where this is all going.
And I'm sure Trump knows this.
Trump's a part of it.
Yeah,
I played you the video of him sitting at the Rebbe's grave.
I'm sure that he knows the depths of the subversion within the Chabad community.
He thinks it's a good thing. I mean, you remember these clips of Donald Trump saying, AIPAC used to control Congress. Now, look, Ilhan Omar, she's saying these bad things. That would never have happened before. They would have never been able to say these bad things. They used to control Congress, and now they don't, and it's very sad. You remember that clip?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a matter of him being oblivious, but he's in on it. Trump is in on it.
And what is his financial priority right now? Did you see the omnibus spending bill?
Do we have the?
Yeah,
do we have a link?
19.
Take a look.
Take a look at this. The omnibus spending bill, Thomas Massey on it as always. $3.3 billion to Israel. If you scroll down, keep going to his next tweet. And an extra $500 million for Israel. So that puts us at $3.8 billion to Israel. This is in the midst of Gaza.
This is in the midst of the United States. Yeah, this isn't. No. Gaza's over. Right? That's done. We've got the Board of Peace now. This is in the midst of gold and silver going parabolic, and the United States economy about to blow up. The government is shutting down.
People can't afford their health care. They can't afford a home. They can't afford basic necessities. But the Jews, they're still going to get their money.
$4 billion.
$4 billion.
And how much of that is going to get laundered back through AIPAC and is going to be used to buy off our politicians again? And it's just unbelievable. Cameron's right. The whole thing has to burn. I don't know what to say.
Cameron's going to say, I just have 3 things to say about this.
More than 3.
I don't. I think Dave nailed it.
But yeah, and the other thing that's interesting about it too is that it's we talked about Chabad. One of the other things that we talk about, if you go back and you watch some of our older episodes, is Opus Dei, right? And Opus Dei is like the Catholic version of Chabad, where these Catholic priests or whatever, like Father Arne Panula, goes up to Peter Thiel and basically gets Peter Thiel to donate to the Catholic Information Center in Washington, D.C., who's now working together with Paul Singer to make anti-Semitism, combating anti-Semitism a top priority for the Catholic Church.
Yeah, of course.
And if you go
They're probably working with Chabad.
And if you go through the Epstein emails, he says in the Epstein emails that the number one threat is Catholicism. Mm-hmm. That's in the emails. So go check that out. I'm just saying.
You're going to have a perfect transition to Atlas, aren't you?
I am. Oh, shit. No. So anyway,
This was so easy.
the United States is giving a bunch of money to Israel. They're fucking us over. Donald Trump is rug pulling the economy. You need to get your hands on gold and silver with Atlas Bullion at atlasbullion.com/the backlash. We are experiencing a slight pullback in the markets. Gold hit a high of what? What was that? $5,600. Now it's back down to $4,988. It's about to cross that $5,000 barrier again. Silver, if you liked it at $109 an ounce, you're gonna love it at $88.46 an ounce.
It's the same thing.
$109 an ounce. Can you believe 109?
Can I believe it? Yeah. I can
Unbelievable.
believe it, yeah.
So get your gold and silver with atlasbullion.com/backlash. They've got these gold and silver subscriptions you can get signed up to automatically buy on a monthly basis, dollar cost average your way into some precious metals as a way of protecting yourself against the Jews.
Protect yourself against the Jews.
We're going to get banned.
I
I don't know why I looked up there. I looked up there to like,
stop. Thank you
All
so
right.
much. And thank you for teaching us about Chabad. I doubt the audience knew that much. I didn't know that much.
I barely scratched the surface.
Please
you
look
can
into it on your own.
spend a week going down the rabbit hole on Chabad-Lubavitch. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And check out where you live. Wherever you live, you're going to find Chabad. Every state capital in the United States, they're there. If you see a menorah like in Spokane, if you see it in, and let me actually pull it up because there's a very specific kind of menorah. It's very like angular. It's got these like 45-degree angle.
Okay.
Chabad
Menorah.
And once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. It's these ones.
Yep.
This type of angular, no frills. Like you see this one, like this one right here. Like that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about these ones. Very angular, and they're up in like all of the state capitals. When you see that, that is a sign that Chabad-Lubavitch is conquering your territory. Just saying.
It's happening to all of us. Get your last minute super chats into the backlash.net/superchat or right here on my YouTube channel or on our YouTube channel at Real Backlash.
Yes. Are we?
Yeah, let's do it.
We're doing super chats now. All right. Let's start off on Entropy. Flayer Cake sent $14.88. All I want for my super chat is to hear Dave do his Trump impression.
He does it all the time.
I did it. I've been doing it. I did it. Everybody knows that I did it. It was the most tremendous.
The best Trump impression.
It was the best Trump impression that anybody has ever done. Believe me. They were all asking me to do it on St. Thomas when I was visiting the island.
Yeah, really. Adelson.
Oh, geez.
Dershowitz.
Okay, well, I guess we're going to wind up having like a fourth topic tonight, aren't we?
What?
Lauren Southern sent $50. Thank you for the big super chat. I'm so proud of Sarah Stock. It took me a couple of years to wreck my marriage and get rid of my better half Asian fed.
Oh, God. I want to be dragged into this.
Bro.
There's a reason we didn't cover this, guys.
Yeah.
It's slop content.
Nick had the right take on it. I know I'm pissing everyone off by bringing that up, but it's true. What these people did in their private lives, as fucked up as it may be, is their private shit. We're in the middle of a eighth front war, and we want to argue with one another about all of this bullshit, interpersonal stuff, private marriage details. Really? I mean, yeah, on the one hand, I get it. I get the intrigue and all of that. But at the same time, like Elijah Schaffer was one of the first people to put his nuts on the line. Pause. Elijah Schaffer was one of the first people to call out Jewish supremacy and the Israel stuff while he was at the Blaze. Remember why we had him on the podcast?
No.
See, people's brains are full of mush.
Because the Rift was doing well?
No. We brought Elijah
Cruz?
on the podcast because he was getting sued by Kash Patel's girlfriend
right. Yeah,
because he alleged that she was a Mossad asset. That's why we had Elijah Schaffer on the show.
This is the wrong take. This is the wrong take. Listen, I understand.
This is not the wrong take.
No, it's
they
wrong.
want us to fight with each other. They want us to tear ourselves apart. This coalition.
Nick fights with people constantly. He's fighting with Jake Shields right now.
No, they made up. They kissed and made up yesterday.
Whatever. Okay, listen, that's not the right take. I understand that we're not community leaders from a moral standpoint. All right.
Speak for yourself. I'm kidding.
No, we're not. I mean, we're not priests. We're not, we're not moral arbiters. But once you get into the public sphere, it is incumbent on you to not be a degenerate. It just is, especially if you're married and you have kids. Like you just can't be doing stuff. You can't be doing stuff like this. You can't do it.
Yeah, I feel really bad for Sarah's husband, who should probably get an annulment.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't want to get into this.
I didn't really either. But I mean, Lauren Southern super chatted $50. So I mean, we got to give her $50 worth of content. Listen, here's another thing. Here's another thing about all this stuff, and it's
we're not
weird.
going to talk about it. Here's another thing.
We're not going to talk about it, but
I got 3 things to say.
Here's another thing. And we've been talking about it behind the scenes. Like how long have we known each other?
10 years.
Almost, yeah. And IRL. Here's the thing. I am who I am on the timeline and like in my real life. There's something that happened. Like I remember, I used to work at Guitar Center in Boston, right? And, I'm going to school at Berkeley. I'm working at Guitar Center in Boston. And I remember one time I tweeted about how much I did not want to go to work at Guitar Center. And I got called into the manager's office and had a talking to, you're not allowed to tweet shit like this.
Fair. That's totally fair.
Well, but at the same time, then it's like all of a sudden you have to disintegrate your life in a way where you have your work personality and then you have your online personality.
No, your boss was 100%
You
right.
have your job. I disagree.
Okay.
I have been an advocate of radical integration to the point that if a priest drops in at my house, I am not going to be engaged in some sort of activity.
Attitude. That's the right
I'm going to
attitude.
be dressed appropriately.
Yeah.
My wife will be dressed appropriately. If I'm driving by the church, no matter what I'm doing, I'd be able to pop out of my car and go to church like that.
Right.
As opposed to these people that show up to church, they put on their face, they put on their fancy clothes, they walk in like they walk on water, and their life is a lie.
Listen, that is an important point, though. There needs to be radical integration of who you are and who you present yourself as online.
Don't get fired from your job. I understand that, but at a certain point, you can find that you have different friend circles. One friend circle that's cool with your white identity and anti-Semitism, and then another friend group that, if they heard me talking like that, we wouldn't be friends anymore.
But
what I'm
I
saying
can't
is
do that.
Fuck that.
You can't do that.
Abolish
You're right.
Be you. Be radically
Right.
you, no matter where you are, and own the shit that you say, and you'll never be blackmailed.
Right. That's the thing. We want to be in position. This is why they didn't let gays in the military. You want to be in a position where you can't be blackmailed. And I'm not saying nobody has a right to privacy. I hear a lot of people saying well, if there was nothing to hide, then why would you be worried? People have a right to have secrets. They have a right to have privacy in their lives, but they don't have the right to present themselves as an entirely different person than they are. And if that comes to light, which it always does, then, there are consequences for that. And I'm leaving the morality of the situation totally out of it. But there does need to be, I like this term, radical integration. If you're a media personality or whatever gay thing I want to call us, you have to be who you are.
Take seller.
If you're going to be a take seller, yeah.
Just be who you are. Pray for them. Pray for Sarah. Pray for Elijah. Pray for their families. It's a very sad situation. Hank sent $25. Saw you live. I listened at work.
You live.
But dropped into support.
You live.
Oh. I was like, is he talking about they live?
Son of a bitch. Is the word live? Live and live are spelled the same way? Fuck. I've been reading too many Epstein emails. My grammar has gone to shit.
Oh, we're so dumb.
Hank, thank you for the big super chat. Thanks for watching us live. Thanks for watching us live. That's my fault. I own that. Book Track Groove sent $10. Rebecca, when you change your mind, you articulate well on why you change. The half-ass struggle session, Beardson Beardley was trash. I rather have your husband read the Bible to you.
Yeah, I was doing some placating him, although I disagree with him on a number of things. Speaking of which, I am going on Adam Green tomorrow. I've decided that Beardson's wrong. I'm doing it anyway.
You're going to bring him to Jesus.
It's not going to happen. There's a 0. Adam Green, everybody knows him just for his religious philosophies. I want to know what he thinks about other stuff too.
Okay. That's
so
fair.
I think we should explore that. But it's his interview. He's going to ask me whatever.
Yeah.
I like Adam. I apologize for nothing.
Don't cuck on Jesus. That sentence.
This is not our best.
I apologize.
We're not
But
giving
don't
them that
roll over on the Jesus question. You got to stand your ground. Book Track Groove sent $10. Cameron, I understand you look at the bigger picture on geopolitics, but we need the smaller picture. Example, East Palestine, Ohio is still recovering from the train damage.
Yeah.
Hope we can balance that. Yeah. I have not been keeping up.
I completely forgot about that.
I didn't forget about it, but I have not kept up on it. I wonder how those people are doing. It's probably not good.
I'm sure they're going to have health problems for life.
We could probably just look at Zillow.
I'll just say one thing on this. There is something great, dynamic, indispensable about the Western spirit. And that Western spirit is a belief in agency, that you can affect the world, that you can sort of grab the bull by the horns, as they say, and you can shake things up. And there's nobility in that. And I emphasize the importance of agency all the time. However, there are bigger forces in the world, and you have to recognize what those forces are. And sometimes the problem is the solution, and you have to let the process unfold. We are riding the wave right now. Control is an illusion. And wanting to charge into the fray or go to the street corner and scream at the top of your lungs, that's not productive. It's not going to help you. Things are actually working in our favor across the board. And if you've taken nothing else from what I've said this evening, this Epstein dump is profoundly important. It's revealing. And yes, it may be sort of passively interesting to Rebecca and Dave and others in our spheres, because we've seen this stuff for a long time. Look, this is reaching the surface. This is beginning to resonate with a lot of people who have absolutely no idea what's going on. And there's a lot of those folks. And they're beginning to sense that there's something really wrong in government and the banks and in cities across this country. And a lot of these folks know more than you think, but they got bills to pay. They've got jobs to do. They've got families to raise. They don't have time to go on Twitter and follow the trends. So let the process work. And I'll give you a principle. It comes from the East, it comes from the Chinese. It's called Wu Wei. It means effortless effort. Effortless effort. And specifically, it's kind of a flow. There's a flow to life. You get into a routine, you take action, all right? It's not about disempowerment or sitting back and doing nothing, but you let things sort of flow. You let the process unfold. And that's what we have to do right now. And it's working in our favor because these people, they're evil. And evil is more than anything else. What is it? It's self-destructive. We said it a moment ago. At the heart of this financial crisis are people like Jeffrey Epstein. They are self-destructive. Let them destroy themselves and survive by applying this principle of Wu Wei, effortless effort. That is the way.
It's hard to do that.
Wu Wei as opposed to woo woo.
Yeah, no woo woo.
No woo woo on the backlash. Wu Wei. Big Mad Lad sent $10. I've really grown to enjoy Dave. At first, I was skeptical on the Dave question, but now I'm a total fan. Dave After Dark is great too. Thank you.
The Dave question?
The Dave question. The DQ. Yeah.
Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
No.
Dave After Dark, a.k.a. Dad.
I'm hoping that we're going to get another Dave After Dark this week. I need to film it. It's going to have to be pre-done. Maybe I'll do it live. I'm not really sure yet. I'm going to be joining for all of the bullshit, for all the shit that trad people are getting this week, I'm going to be on Trad Watch this Friday evening with Stephen Cox. Sorry, I keep saying Cox because I don't want to say Cox. Stephen Cox. We will be discussing. There's been like a tectonic earthquake in the Catholic Church this week. The traditionalist group has announced that they're going to be consecrating bishops, so we're going to be talking about that. I was planning on doing a Dave After Dark about that. I'll let you know what time that is, but that'll be on Friday, and that's when I was planning on doing. Anyway, long story. What else? There was something else that I just
the next
thought of.
super chat was the thing.
Probably. Book Track Grooves sent $10. 1 Timothy 4, 1-5, verse 3 is key. Who forbid marriage and require abstinence from foods that God created to be received with thanksgiving by those who believe and know the truth.
Thank you, Book Track Grooves.
Absolutely. Robert sent $25. Trump just had another bad interview on NBC. I know, shocking. He said, quote, "I don't want to go and force ourselves into a city, even if the numbers are terrible," announcing defeat along with Tom Homan. He went from rapists to great people in 10 years. What the fuck?
Yeah, he's not a man of principle.
Taco, Trump always chickens out.
Yep.
Well, I have a video that's coming out, I think tomorrow, maybe it's going to be on Monday, but I think it should be tomorrow, in which I talk in great detail about what's happening in Minnesota at a more holistic level. But look, Trump is what he is. He is a destructive agent. He's a product of chaos media. He is a narcissist on demand. He is not somebody of executive competency. That being said, the structure of the Constitution does not permit the sovereign will of the people to be done. We talked about this last week. So we're going to have to see more breakdown, more unrest, more lawlessness. That's what it's going to take. Wu Wei, let the process unfold, because the structure of government as constituted today, it's just not up to the task, but it's setting the stage for the template, if you will, of what is to come.
Mm-hmm. By the way, I remembered what that other thing was. So I'm going to be on Steven's show Friday, and Steven is coming on our show Monday.
Oh, cool. Okay.
That's what it was. Wu Wei. NBC interview. Yes. Tomahawk sent $10. Thanks for another great show. I, like Blonde, was really thrown off by the voice mismatch
I'm
with
glad I wasn't
Epstein.
the only one.
It really bothers me.
It does. It always bothers me. It's like seeing the face of a radio host. I'm always like,
Yeah.
That's not what I'm not disappointed, but that's just not what I was expecting. You know?
Oh man, I'm gonna see if I can maybe as we get into the super chats, I'll play it. No, I want to do it right now. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Okay, I'm gonna play you a quick little video.
Quick.
I'm gonna play you a quick little video, and I want you to tell me what you think this guy looks like. Here we go.
Hey, welcome to LSB Feaster's radio channel and travel corner. What do we do here? Well,
what do we think? What do we think about this guy? What do we think he looks like?
White, skinny, mid-50s.
White, skinny, mid-50s, and the reveal.
Whoa!
Black, fat.
Whoa!
Well done,
Nailed
Rebecca.
Oh, we pretty much save radio audio.
It
Think
even
of
looks
this
weird coming
as
out of his mouth.
a radio museum.
Oh.
That was so funny, man. That was one of my dad's co-hosts, Ellis Feaster, back in the day. Great guy, love him. I think he's retired from radio now, but that was one of those voice mismatches where you listen to him on the radio and it's like, oh, you're a black guy? What the fuck?
I had no idea.
That's crazy. That's so funny though. All right, enough of the voice mismatching. Reinhardt sent $10. Let's stop acting as if ideological purges are unimportant. By the time it's done, the only people left leading this movement should be those that have proven themselves to be men of conviction and will. The calling is necessary.
I also agree with that. Yeah. I mean, you have to go through so many fires in this job that but there's also danger in that, because sometimes the last man standing is somebody that's highly narcissistic or is using some maladaptive approaches. Like it's normal for people, not in this situation, but generally it's normal for people to get flamed out in this job because it destroys your life, even if you're behaving well. So,
but you just have to, I'm sorry, Rebecca, finish your thought.
That's all.
I was just going to say, you just have to maintain a sense of the bigger picture, bigger purpose. And what's happening is bigger than all of us. And as long as you don't lose sight of that, you're going to be just fine. But Reinhardt's 100% right. Remember what Lenin said. For a party to strengthen itself, it must first purge itself. And that's what we're experiencing. It's a hollowing out of the whole damn system. And that is long overdue. But that hollowing out process is going to build on the bedrock foundation for something new. That's where we're headed.
True. Reinhardt said $10. These new revelations are going to accelerate the mob's desire for justice. And because we all know that it's not coming, before long they will reach whomever credibly promises it to them, no matter the barbarity of the methods involved.
That's always how authoritarianism rises.
Very likely.
Yes.
Because what does Cameron always say? The radical option is the most. What is it that you?
The only option that remains is the extreme option.
Right, because the intermediate options of like, I don't know, self-policing and like getting rid of this shit along the way, none of that happened.
Right.
So yeah.
But remember what you said, and you're right. That process is going to unfold, but it doesn't mean that we need to lean into the fray of that counter extremism. That extremism is going to burn itself out too. So the key is to survive and focus on the bigger picture and remember that you're part of something bigger, because people succumb to animal spirits. If there's one thing that you take away from what I say, it's that ultimately people are not controllable. And, you know, it's amazing. You have all these people that go on Twitter and they just obsess with folks like Whitney Webb, who tell them that there are these interconnected networks that control everything. Well, we've gone through pretty systematically tonight, or forensically, and I think we've revealed that that is really not the case, that actually it's a bunch of very corrupt and evil people that are inherently self-destructive that are running the world. That's really what's going on. It's not some kind of surgical Bond villain that is perfectly in control and has perfect insight. That's not the case, right? It is much more the case that it's evil, and evil is self-destructive, and eventually it turns on itself. But we've got to avoid getting trampled on when that counter thrust comes, and it's coming.
Yep. Local priest Longtime sent $10. A large reason why racial consciousness is so slow catching on is because Christcucks cannot decide where the right's priorities should lie. Are we a pro-European Ubermensch revolution, or are we a groveling universalist doormat bowel movement? Bro, you're not serious.
That will sort itself out.
Yeah,
that will sort itself out in time.
Reinhardt sent $50.
Thank you, buddy.
I am more optimistic every day that people are going to soon start asking for this person outside a voting booth. Our job is to make sure that we shout that person's name loudly enough that when the people cross that Rubicon, they know who to turn to.
That's true. And that is going to be central to having leadership in the movement. We're positioning somebody for the opportunity in future.
That's also something I emphasize with Rebecca and Dave all the time. Under promise, over deliver. This is a lesson the president has never learned. He does the opposite. And you can get away with that for a while until you can't. And I don't want to be there on the day that you can't. It's going to get ugly.
Yeah. Well, that's where we are now. I mean, you know, we talked about it earlier, the Epstein phase 1, and, you know, libs of TikTok and Pam Bondi are holding up these folders. And that's it. That's done. It's all a hoax. And then now here, it's all spilling out. Goyim this, Goyim that, abundance of Goyim, blah, blah, blah. Unbelievable. Glam Drink sent $20. Tomorrow's my 25th anniversary of being married to an incredible white woman who gave me 2 awesome boys. Also, I bought another 8,000 of silver and put your names in Kenzie's ear. Love you guys.
Thank you so much. Congratulations. That's wonderful to hear.
Let's go. That's awesome. Good job.
Yeah, we had a Twitter space, did we not, Dave, with Kenzie last week?
Yeah, last Friday. Was that just last Friday? It
was.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and Kenzie and I chopped it up on the macro side. So yeah, if you guys are interested, you should join those spaces and get some meat.
Yes.
On the bone of what's happening in the world. We had a pretty good discussion, I thought.
I think so too. And that was on Twitter, and there's a recording of it. So if you scroll back on our timeline, you can go listen to it. It was like an hour and a half. Zig Heil.
Oh my God, that was painful to watch. I can't see. So but I feel like I would have gotten that faster.
H-I-1-L.
Also, we both decided that person said you live, so maybe I shouldn't even be helping
whatever,
you.
man. $10. Take my shekels. I wanted to get David Irving's book and avoid shipping fees. Looked it up on Canadian Amazon. It's not banned, but it will cost a mere $1,900. Looks like Antelope is the only hope. True. Yeah, that's Nuremberg, the Last Battle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude, be careful owning David Irving books in Canada. You could go to jail for that. I'm like not even kidding.
All you guys should also get Anthony Sutton's books.
Which one's
there's
this?
3 volumes.
Oh, yes.
This is the first volume, but I think you can still get them on Amazon. But those 3 you need to read.
Yeah.
And the first one is Wall Street and the Bolshevik Revolution.
Very good. And by the way, we finally, after months, we have finally heard back from Adam Irving.
I saw on Twitter, yeah.
On Twitter, we bullied him a little bit. We're like, yo, why did you stand us up? What's going on
and
here?
all he said was, it was an accident.
So we're going to try to book him again.
No.
We're not?
No, dude.
Oh, okay.
He just did not
he
show
ghosted
up.
us for like months.
And then didn't answer it. No, it was, fuck that guy. I'm not having him back on.
His dad's books are so important.
His dad's books.
Yeah. True. Anyway. Book Track Groove sent $20. Rebecca, let's see your ribeye steak cooking skills. Plated it with fermented sides and eggs. Happy knitting. Hope you have plenty of linen and cotton. Dave, work on wood crafting skills.
I don't knit in cotton or linen. I use a beautiful superwash wool.
I don't know what any of this.
Well, you guys can get firsthand experience with Dave and Rebecca's secret skills if you go to the event.
Yes,
that's
please
very
go to
true.
I'll teach a knitting class. I barely know how to do it.
This is at the backlash.net/February-dinner. I think it's in the chat. I'll put it in the chat again. If you're free, at the end of this month, February 28th through March 1st, we are doing a very special weekend here. Black tie dinner. We're going to have all kinds of activities, fun activities. Brunch,
I could reverse sear you a steak.
if necessary, if that's what it takes. So please come on up.
You didn't give me any props, Rebecca, on my shameless shilling on behalf.
That was
of
very
you
good.
guys.
That was
You're
good.
starting
Thank you,
to
Cameron.
learn. Cameron
You're learning
is
from
starting
Dave.
Starting to learn from the master. I am the apprentice. Dave is the master.
Tomahawk sent $10. I think the Ukraine war is about clearing out the Gentiles so that they can recreate Khazaria.
Yeah.
There was
A lot
something.
of evidence to support that claim. And supposedly there are sort of cordoned off land in Ukraine that BlackRock and Larry Fink, among others, has reserved to reclaim. This is a rumor. I don't know if it's true, but I've heard that such activity is going on.
Yeah. And so this is, for example, a map of heavenly Jerusalem, which is apparently an initiative of Chabad. Chabad, Jewish Chabad, 1994 plan to, quote, liquidate Slavs and Russo-Ukrainians in a war. In a speech published in the Vologda newspaper, Slovenian, Chabad leader Rabbi Schneerson outlined plans for destroying Ukraine and Russia. Slavs, and among them Russians, are the most unbending people in the world. Slavs are unbending as a result of their psychological and intellectual abilities created by many generations of ancestors. It is impossible to alter these genes. Slavs can be destroyed but never conquered. We will divide Slavic nations into small countries with weak collections. We will use our old method, divide and conquer, pit these countries against each other, and suck them into civil wars for mutual destruction. Ukrainians would think that they are fighting against expansionist Russia, struggling for independence. Ukrainians will become fully subdued by us. The same will be thought by Russians, as though they are defending their national interests, blah, blah, blah. This is from henrymackow.com. Apparently, the whole Russia-Ukraine war is just another Chabad thing. Don't fucking shoot me.
Well, what does that sound like? That sounds like Israel's operations across the Middle East to do exactly the same thing. And might add the United States to that, which is descending into tribalism across this country because of decades and decades of unchecked mass immigration, funded, financed, and encouraged by who? The same folks.
The Jews. Sorry, yawn. James sent 11.
That was a servant volley to you, Dave.
I know, and I was in the middle. I was in the middle of a yawn, man. Come on. James sent $11. How does one marry the idea that Jewish sects don't even agree on the existence of Israel, but are a united front against everyone else? Reformed Jews and Haredi Jews don't even communicate. When do they plan to act against the rest of us? Well, I mean, there's a lot of different consensus mechanisms that happen, right? There's consensus that's formed within Chabad. Then there's consensus that's formed over at the WZO and the AJC and, all of these different things. There's the Knesset. Consensus is formed over there. The Haredis form their own consensus. And then these people get together and they argue. You know what they say? 2 Jews, 3 opinions. Mm-hmm. So they're never going to completely be in lockstep with one another, but they are united in their identity as Jewish, and they are united at the moment that anybody starts pointing out, hey, that guy, he's Jewish. And then all of a sudden, it's anti-Semitism, quick, shut it down. So it's not that there's necessarily a unified plan going forward, but when they come under attack, they close ranks and unify and defend against the attack. So hope that helps explain it a little bit. Reinhardt sent $10. Their private shit makes a mockery of us because they are associated with us. If we allow such brazen degeneracy to go unpunished, we look like toothless hypocrites. Conviction is everything. That's what people will want most when they lose faith. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's nothing to be done now because they've self-destructed. I mean, I don't know that there's really any coming back from this. I doubt Sarah Stock is ever going to appear publicly ever again.
Yeah, she shouldn't.
There's something else too, and that is, there's a saying, and I often say it to people. The solution to 99 of every 100 problems is money, but not 100 of 100 problems. And so that is to say that most of the time you can buy people off, you can bribe them, you can tantalize them with all manner of concentrated finance, which is their principal weapon. But there's that one that isn't about money. And that's a mysterious line, right? It's sort of the line of social trust or legitimacy, the social contract, as I like to discuss it. These things are transcendent ideas. And I know people in the audience, they don't like that. They don't like listening to that. They probably didn't like it when I mentioned Wu Wei, because these things are somewhat nebulous. But look, folks, we're talking about transcendent ideas. We're talking about things. Like consciousness, like national identity, like mass mobilization, like eschatology. These are the things that are driving world events, and those things are transcendent. They overcome. They go beyond. They are above materialism, and in that realm, it is the spiritual component that's activated. And that's when everything changes. And that's what's going to happen. That's what Rebecca and Dave struggle with, because over the last 10 years, they've seen the 99 of 100 play themselves out again and again and again. Now we're about to hit that wall, and it's going to reverse.
James, who I'm beginning to suspect is Jewish, sent $11. Regarding Jewish racial supremacy, you do realize that racial supremacy is precluded by conversion. Because you weren't born a Jew doesn't mean that you can't have this covenant with God through converting to Judaism.
I care about ethnic Judaism.
Well, here's the thing. There have been different movements and there's like 6 different sects right now. There's like Hasidism, Reformism, Haredi, I forget the rest, but there's like 6 main living streams of Judaism. There is no central authority. It is completely decentralized. And for example, the Chabad Hasidic movement is different than like the Lev Tohar Hasidic movement.
Not to me.
They don't share a unified structure or a central governance.
The unifying thing of all these people is ethnic Judaism.
Is that they're Jewish.
Yeah.
Yeah, in one way or another.
Yeah.
Their rejection of Christ and all of that. But I guess what I'm saying is the idea that like, oh, someone can convert to Judaism, like, dude, that's 0.0001%.
Also, Jews never accept you if you're a convert. Yeah.
Plus, they barely, there was a period of time in like the 1100s, like.
Wrap it up, Dave.
There was a period of time back in the day when people would.
Not anymore,
Judaism was viewed as a religion. And like,
if I converted to Judaism and I walked into Brooklyn to a Brooklyn synagogue, they'd be like, GTFO, shiksa, get out of here. Like there's no meaningful conversion. It's about the genetics. It's about the spiritual.
For them, yeah.
To me too. It's about the spiritual sickness of Judaism. It's about the genetic lineage of Judaism. I don't care about all this other shit.
Some woo-woo. There's some woo-woo shit out there. Reinhardt sent, to clarify my last, he sent $10. People are going to look for new leaders when they lose faith in politicians and government. It's our job to keep our house clean so that when that happens, the choice is clear and there are no more traitors in our ranks. Yeah. That's why.
Counter elite is emergent.
I agree. Thank you, Reinhardt.
Counter elite is emergent. This is not an unprecedented thing. It is customary for civilizations, for empires, for nations to go through this because their elite class succumbs to degeneracy for one reason or another. That's what's happened to us. And that elite cadre operates the machinery of government.
Yes.
And that's why it's completely screwed up. We're going to build a counter elite. That's coming, but the machine has to crash first. Then comes the counter elite.
Yeah. Josh Gibbons sent a big super chat, $100.
Thanks,
Love
buddy.
the show. Keep up the great work. Thanks, Josh. Haven't talked to you in a long time.
Thank you, Mr. Gibbons.
Absolutely. James sent $11. The near entirety of attacks on synagogues in the West have been on ultra-Orthodox synagogues. They don't read the internet and have very little security. They often have more children than adults. I don't know. I find it hard to blame them. Don't attack synagogues. Come on, what the fuck? Don't do that. That's stupid. It doesn't help anybody, and it just gives a excuse to the Jews to like take away our guns, to take away our free speech.
The real reason not to do it, outside of the ethics of killing people and everything, is that it gives them emotional leverage.
Yeah, don't do it.
We don't want to give Jews emotional leverage.
No. James,
doesn't everybody remember the Holocaust?
Also, James sent $11. Not Jewish.
Liar.
I apologize. I will take him at his word. I apologize for insinuating that you are Jewish. There is nowhere left to flight. Sent $100.
Yay, thank you.
On Entropy. Thanks for the show. If you're going to represent a white identity movement, you must walk the talk. Fuentes is wrong on Epstein and more. We need to be able to say this. Race and faith are inseparable. That low IQ twat Beardson is a pawn. We need platforms working together. Nobody needs someone more than another. Toxic.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Fuentes is so wrong on Epstein. Just absolutely wrong. When we first talked about this a few weeks ago, I actually had not watched any. I thought it was a take from you. About Epstein and the underage girls. And now that I've been listening to Nick over the last few weeks, I'm like, I'm out on this Epstein thing. Epstein was exploiting underage goy because he's a dysfunctional pedophilic
Well,
Jew.
I thought that it was like 17-year-olds.
Yeah.
And then somebody super chatted the show and it's like, oh no, they're younger. But there is,
to be fair,
there's
I
a
also,
distinction between pedophilia and is it
hebephilia or something like that.
Or something
I
like
was
that.
unaware before this document dump that there was any evidence that anybody was under like 16.
There is now a lot of evidence.
Yeah.
There is now a lot of evidence that there was a lot of kids involved. And it's and talk of cutting their heads off like shrimp and stuff like this. But at the same time, I am eagerly awaiting for Nick's Friday stream. He's going to be going over the whole network. And I think that the Friday, like if you're going to judge Nick on his Epstein take, you should wait for Friday. He's going to do the full rundown on it. And if you watch the show and
we'll see what he says.
I mean, there's going to be 2 streams on Friday. There's going to be Nick's stream, and then there's going to be Ian Carroll and Tucker Carlson's stream.
Oh yeah.
So like, I'm going to be watching the Nick stream. Y'all can watch the other one. Slop night. Oh geez. You've got a bunch of super chats on yours.
Let's see what I got.
Make sure that I didn't miss any on.
What's the date? February 4th. Isaac, just general support. Take care and God bless. God bless you too. Beneficent. What does that say? Why am I
Beneficent?
blind? No, there's no either.
Beneficent.
Nope.
Beneficent.
Maybe. Y'all see that baby Mom Donnie photo with Epstein and his mom?
Yo, did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it.
Let me pull it up. Can I pull it up? Mom Donnie.
This guy's like, where's Waldo? He just shows up everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, look at this.
Yep.
This is crazy.
Yeah. Isn't there another one where he's younger?
Is this real? Chat, is that real? Come on. This can't be
Is that
real.
looks
Bezos?
like AI.
That can't be real.
Bezos, Gates.
Bill Gates? No, that can't be real.
This
no way.
cannot.
Hey, Dave, you're in there too in the back.
I know.
Yeah, I
there he
know.
is. He's like, ooh. I planned Charlottesville. Dave's in the back there.
I'm like the Forrest Gump of the alt-right.
That's the one I was thinking of. The
This
baby.
does not look real.
Look, it looks.
Bill Clinton is not. There's no way he's in that.
It
photo.
looks like there's something going
on in the
here.
back. Yeah.
Right?
I don't
Why
know.
is that foggy and this is not foggy?
That looks fake.
What about
That's
this
the one I saw. No, that's
the other
fake.
one. That's not real.
Now that's definitely real. That one, totally
Bro.
real.
Okay, so I don't think the Mamdani photos are real. But
Twitter strikes again.
It doesn't. It does not change the. They're doing the thing where they're like, look, he's the bastard child of Epstein. Mamdani is like MI5. He's like MI6. He's like a weird CIA agent anyway.
David last name says trad larper's gonna trad larp, e-girl's gonna e-girl. It'll be what it is, and it do what it do, and it really do be like that. That was a point that I wanted to make before we close out. I don't know if you have any more, but this concept of traditionalism in the way that women are presenting themselves online, it doesn't actually exist, right?
No.
The trad larping thing, I've always hated it, and I say I'm not trad, I'm tard all the time.
I am tard.
Because they just present like a 50s aesthetic of traditional life. But when you look historically at trad life, it was like a babushka wearing a muumuu with 12 kids, and she's got a, her uterus is hanging out of her vagina. Like this is they're working hard there. It's not what is being presented online. And it doesn't exist in the modern era.
No. That was pretty graphic.
Yeah.
Hey, the prolapsed uterus is a known consequence of having many children.
I did not need to know that was a thing.
You had to go there, Rebecca. You just had to go there.
I'm really into talking about childbirth. Okay.
Jeez. I mean, like, I don't know, like
for David Chabad, for Rebecca, it's the uterus.
It is.
Got it.
Yeah. I'll talk uterus all day long.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like of all these people that are like in the media, like, Harrison Smith, like he's trad.
Is he? I don't know.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, go like look at his profile pictures and what he posts. Like, it's like him, his kids. They're like sword fighting in the backyard. You know what I mean? Like, he's a good guy. I don't know. I'm a good guy. I've got 3 kids. I go to mass like 3 times a week. I'm constantly at church. But at the same time, like, I'm not going around pretending like I don't swear like a sailor. I'm not wearing like a 3-piece Peaky Blinders suit pretending that I'm like some 50s drag. Like,
I'm
no,
a lapsed Catholic.
I'm a trad.
I got married at 30. I only have 2 kids.
And this is the whole thing. Like tradition. It's about passing on the faith from one generation to the next. It's not about like having a 50s house aesthetic. It's not about the sourdough bread. It's about the faith. It's about like the actual doing of the religion and passing down your
wife is trad.
Your family stuff. Yeah, I mean, she's trad, but like there's a lot of ways that she's not trad.
There are a lot of ways she's trad. I mean, she works. She's always dressed modestly. She cooks every single meal. She's a jack of all trades.
I made lunch today.
Was it eggs?
Annie's. Annie's macaroni and cheese.
Oh, I'm good over here.
All right. Well, I'm good over here.
I think we're good.
Yeah. Just be careful who you follow, and don't even put your faith in us. Don't put your faith in internet people. Put your faith in God and work. Put in the work in your own life, in the real world, not on Twitter, not online, in the real fucking world. That's where things matter. That's where the rubber meets the road. You know?
Yeah, so what are you doing watching this podcast? No,
Get off the podcast. Go pray for us, please.
On that note, please come to our IRL event in late February. We're really looking forward to selling those last tickets, to meeting you guys. It's going to be a great time. Check us out. That is the backlash.net/February -dinner. Buy the remaining tickets. And on Monday, we're coming in with Mr. Cox.
Stephen Cox.
Mr. Stephen Cox.
We will be going over the state of the Catholic Church, what's going on, for those of you that are interested in that.
Thank you so much. And we will see you on Monday. Bye-bye.